everybody. Welcome to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
This is episode number 181. We're here at SAP Center for the San Jose Sharks draft party. Joined with us here, we've got Graham Montgomery from Dobber Hockey. Say hi, Graham.
Hello.
Hello. Obviously, you guys know Graham. He's been in the chat. He's a fan of the show. He's been on the show quite a few times, help us out with the prospects. Obviously, this is probably the best show to have him on, as the Sharks are primed to make one of the highest draft picks that they've ever made, really, at fourth overall. Anything you want to say about the fourth overall pick? What are we expecting here today? There's already a trade, some rumors going on.
Right, but that's the thing is we don't know what to expect because it is the draft and the Sharks are fourth overall, not first overall. So interesting to see what could happen because there's a possible trade that could be happening by the time they get to their pick or before. So yeah, there's a lot of things going around right now, especially with what other teams are or are not going to be drafting between first and fourth.
So why don't you kind of go over some of that trade rumor, and then we'll get the expert opinion on whether or not this may be a good thing for the Sharks.
Well, there's some rumors going around that Nashville is trying to trade up because the draft is in Nashville. They want to make a big splash in front of all their fans. So trading Askarov, which was a goalie picked 10th overall, I believe, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
2 years ago? 2 years ago. To get into that spot. And now Nashville has I think we looked at it, 15th overall pick. But Askarov would be a top 10 pick, first round pick, but also one of the top prospect goalies, I believe, in the league that's not in the NHL currently.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't be he probably wouldn't go in the top 10 in this draft, but he's arguably, I would say he's the second best goalie prospect in the world right now behind Jesper Wallstedt. So the difference between 4 and 15 is a lot in this draft. I'm not the biggest fan of Will Smith, so if that's their guy at 4, then maybe I'm okay with them trading down. In general, trading down is a good thing, in my opinion. I'm a big proponent of trading down, but when you have a chance to draft this high, especially when you're a team like the Sharks that is in the position they're in, it's a tough sell.
Yeah. Now, Nashville does have, I think, their pick as well as Edmonton's pick, which I think was 24th. I'm not looking at my notes right now. But if they were to get both of those picks, let's say it's overkill. For that 4th overall pick, they get 2 first rounds for this round, plus Askarov. Would you do that?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be really, really good players at 24. So it's one thing to do the trade. It's another thing to actually use those picks well. So, we'll see who they end up actually taking with those picks. But if it's 15, 24, and Askarov, I'm taking that every day.
Now, there were some other trades that the Sharks actually did prior to the draft. We didn't get to do a show on it, so we're going to talk about it now. Mackenzie Blackwood, the Sharks traded a 6th round pick to get Mackenzie Blackwood. Funny thing, I had said it in the Fantasy Hockey group, which Graham is in with us. On June 8th, I looked this up. So I was like, I know I said this.
You got the date down.
Well, I looked it up. I wanted the receipts, right? And so I looked it up and I said, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Greer trades for Mackenzie Blackwood's rights because he's an RFA. His trade for his rights, like a late round draft pick. I think I posted on Twitter so you can see the actual quote. But plus, because Mike Greer has major ties with the New Jersey Devils. And sure enough, a couple days ago, he traded a 6th round pick for Mackenzie Blackwood's rights, which is very interesting because now what we think could be Kaapo Kähkönen and Mackenzie Blackwood as the kind of 1A and 1B starters here. Now he is kind of a project goalie in a way because he started off hot as a rookie and then kind of tailed off from there. Yeah. But what do you think of Mackenzie Blackwood?
I think if the goal next year is to be really bad, then Kähkönen Blackwood tandem is a great place to start. I mean, sounds like we're getting Gary Bettman boost right now.
Yeah, Gary Bettman's going on right now.
Blackwood, never say never. He could end up being, good again, but he had an 891 last year in the NHL. Played a couple games in the AHL, also had bad numbers there, and it's not like the Devils are a bad team. They're a really good team, so I don't know. I don't really do goaltenders the way I do skaters because scouting goalies is totally different, especially at the pro level. But it's a 6th round pick. At the end of the day, you're probably not getting an NHL player with that pick, and Mackenzie Blackwood, at the very least, can give you games in the NHL. So it's not a bad trade.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right on this one too. I mean, for a 6th round pick, absolutely, I take the guy. Yeah, is he going to be more of a career backup? Now, certainly not like a 1A, 1B necessarily, especially with the numbers you just called out. Yeah, I don't think so. But for a 6th, again, if you're just filling a position, and Reimer's not coming back anyway, right? Now, the other part of this, we just talked about potentially a trade that gets Askarov in here. That's a goaltender that's maybe ready for the show, okay? Or getting close to that point. There was another trade rumor dealing with a Sharks goaltender. So if that were the case, if that were to go through, then really the only Sharks goalie that we have in the system would be Mackenzie Blackwood, other than like Maki Niemi and these other guys that only played at AHL time. Yeah. So this other trade rumor was with Pittsburgh. It was Petrie, who has, he's 35 years old. He's on the decline. He's getting paid quite a bit, $5-6 million, I think is what it was.
7.5, I believe.
Oh wow. Okay, so a lot of money apparently. And that was one of those trades they were going to try to move him, get Kakinen, and then something else comes along the way for the Sharks as well. So we could see a complete goaltender change in all aspects for the Sharks this season.
Still a long ways to go before the next season starts, but yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot of movement.
The carousel is real.
I don't remember this many trades going on before a draft in a while.
Yeah.
Like, it's been kind of stagnant, I feel like. And it's kind of weird because the salary cap only went up $1 million from last season. So it's really, I think, handcuffing a lot of GMs that have higher salaries, and you're seeing salary dumps. But we also saw, we looked earlier today, there's 4 teams that are under the floor of the salary cap. So they're going to have to get up to that. So they're going to try and leverage as much as they can to take on some bad contracts and get some draft capital or some prospects on the way back, which the Sharks are involved in and they want to be involved in. Not, I wouldn't say a dumping ground like Arizona, but if the price is right, they're going to take on some bad contracts here.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I think that they said that Arizona had more money tied up in salary dumps than they had in actual players that are playing the game.
Doesn't surprise me. Just to get to the floor, not the ceiling, but the floor. Yeah.
If it works, it works. Unfortunately, it hasn't really worked out for Arizona. But again, we're going to check to see if anything happens with any of these trade rumors. And I pass it off to you. What do you think about some of the trade rumors so far? Does any of this line up with maybe some expectations with what the Sharks should be doing right now?
I think the main thing for me today is Erik Karlsson going to get traded today? All the other rumors, they are what they are.
Yeah.
If we take on Jeff Petrie, fine. He's on a bad contract. That's the type of contract I expect the Sharks to be taking on the next couple of years. And if we can get, draft capital in that or a prospect, then great. I think they should be making trades like that. But really, for Sharks fans, the big trade that could happen today would be Erik Karlsson. I don't know that it will happen today. If it does, I would expect a first-round pick coming this year as part of the return. So potentially they could be ending up with more first-round picks, 3 or 4, who knows. But as far as all these other minor trades are concerned, Blackwood is, again, good if you want to be bad next year. He's a goalie that can play games. Jeff Petrie, he's a defenseman that can give you minutes. And, they're kind of thin on defense as well. So,
especially if Karlsson's gone.
Karlsson is gone,
It's a big hole.
That actually that trade might be contingent on an Erik Karlsson trade, actually. So perhaps if Karlsson gets traded today, we'll also see them trade for Jeff Petrie. Probably not in the same trade, I would imagine, but hey, you never know. Supposedly Kyle Dubas is interested in Karlsson. That's what I've heard, but you never know.
That'd be tough because they have Letang, a right-handed shot defenseman in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So that's where would he fit in? Is kind of, I don't know. I think and all the salary they have tied up with Crosby and Malkin and I guess Letang's the top 3.
Yeah.
Well, the Sharks had Burns when we traded for Karlsson too, so.
And it didn't work.
It worked for 1 year.
Yeah, that's true. It did. If he didn't get hurt. Yeah.
Well, so the funny thing is, with Karlsson and the trade rumors surrounding him, I think Sheng Peng had brought this up, some of the big teams that had been potentially in on a trade for Karlsson were, as you said, the Leafs, but also the Seattle Kraken, which is interesting. And then on top of that was the Hurricanes, which we've seen this before, guys. Burns and Karlsson together. It didn't work out that great, but perhaps the Canes are interested in that, or maybe they've got another trade up their sleeve. I don't think that they would want to move Burns out. I think they liked him. But if they're replacing him with Karlsson, maybe, who knows? Kind of your take on that, the different teams and what they might have to do to make that happen.
If you're making a trade with Don Waddell, you're losing the trade. They lost, in my opinion, they lost the Brent Burns trade. E2 Makiniemi, he's an interesting goalie prospect, but him and a third, Burns was really good for the Canes this year. If we're trading Karlsson to them as well, I would expect the return to be more, but not a lot more. Maybe it's a prospect, and instead of that third, it's a first, and we're retaining, maybe 30% on Karlsson. I think you can probably get more from other teams. Waddell is a really hard GM to negotiate with, so I would rather see him go somewhere else just purely from a return perspective.
I think that trade, though, was more to do with less interest around the league. So Greer had limited options of where to trade him to. Carolina, obviously, it wasn't on his list either because Burns had a no movement clause, so he had to get that cleared. But I would have to imagine that there was not much interest, and that's why he took the trade. And people, I'm not putting you down, but people like to put that trade down and say it was awful, but he did what he had to do because it was the only option. As far as I know, we don't know if there were other options, but it's kind of like it's a market, right? What is the market going to dictate what they're worth? And for Karlsson, the best scenario is for him to win the Norris, which he did, lead the league in defensemen, he did, and stay healthy, and he did. He played all 82 games. So I think the market's in a better place, especially if they retain some salary, and he's a different player than Brent Burns on defense, on offense. So I'm hoping that return would be a lot better than the Burns one. Plus, I think to me it sounds like there's more teams interested as well than there were last season.
I'm not expecting the return to be anything super crazy, probably not getting 2 or 3 first-round picks. You're probably not getting somebody's best prospect. But, a first-round pick, a really good prospect, maybe not the team's best prospect, but if you look at a team like New Jersey, just as an example, because I'm familiar with their prospect pool, you could get a guy somebody that a lot of Sharks fans wanted in the Timo Meier trade was Alexander Holtz. Maybe that's the kind of level of prospect you can get and you can expect in a Karlsson return. Maybe that's what I'm hoping for. And then that in a first-round pick, and then maybe a late-round pick as well, just as a throw-in. Probably they're going to be getting a salary dump as well. So in the Timo trade, they had Andreas Janssen. I would expect another player like that just to make the cap work.
And for those of you following along at home, the Chicago Blackhawks have just selected Connor Bedard with the #1 overall pick in the draft. Big shocker, right? I mean, what would it have taken for them to trade this pick away? I mean, what? Give me McDavid and Draisaitl.
It's worth too much.
It really is. So, I mean, for the people that are living under a rock, what is it about Connor Bedard that makes him the consensus #1 overall pick in this draft, #1? I guess, but also when comparing him, as I just said, McDavid, when comparing him to that player, do they have a similar skill set, or are they just both similarly dominant against their leagues?
I would say that Connor Bedard was actually more dominant in the WHL than McDavid was when he was playing in his draft year in the OHL. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a better player.
Right.
I think he's a better goal scorer for sure. And his offensive toolkit is just insane. He has the best hands in the draft. He's not super fast, but he's very mobile, has great edge work, so he can just deke around players using his feet, using his hands, and he has perfect shooting mechanics, one of the best shots in the league. He will have one of the best shots in the league. And he's a guy who I expect him to score 40 goals in his rookie season.
Wow.
That is not something that you can say about many prospects, so I think and the upside is top 3, top 4 player in the league. That's why he's going. That's why he's the consensus overall.
He's coming into the league as an 18-year-old and already has one of the best shots in the league.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
He's already got a theoretical 40 goals.
Well,
Yeah.
this guy's potential could be a 60 or more goal
I would be
scorer.
shocked if he scored less than 30 goals. Mitch.
Yeah.
Do you think he has the
assuming-
support to do that, though?
Assuming he's healthy.
Well,
Bedard, the way Chicago is structured this year, he's going to be the kind of player that's just going to take things into his own hands.
Okay.
So we heard this last year, like players like Tomas Hertl were deferring to Timo Meier, right? That's going to be the way I suspect a lot of Chicago players are going to defer to Bedard. He's already used to playing like that because the team he's played for this year in the WHL, Regina, not a very good team. They barely made the playoffs. And in the CHL, almost every team makes the playoffs. There's like 10 teams in their division, and 8 of them make the playoffs. So you have to be really bad to not make the playoffs. So they barely got in, and they, I believe, played Saskatoon in the first round. They took it to 7 games purely because of Connor Bedard. He had 20 points in 7 games. So that's the kind of player you're dealing with. I suspect when he gets to the NHL, at least for the first couple of years, he's going to be playing the same way because there's not going to be a ton of really high-skilled players around him. Players are going to feed him the puck, and he's going to shoot. He shoots a ton, and he's going to score goals.
they did just get Taylor Hall. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did see that.
Traded for Taylor Hall. He's going to be a good playmaker for him and bring speed to that line, so he'll be good for the team. Chicago, though, still needs to get to the floor. They're still very far from the cap floor, so they're going to be adding some, I wouldn't say bad contracts, but maybe some borderline bad contracts that teams might want to get rid of.
I don't know. I think the prospect of being able to play with a guy like Connor Bedard year one is going to draw in some pretty high-end talent that is going to cost them quite a bit and kind of get them past that floor. I'm not sure who's available necessarily as a free agent this season that's worth anything in terms of the talent that they can bring.
The free agent list is not very good this year.
No, okay. Well,
it's not very deep.
Maybe Chicago goes, you know what? We got our unicorn. We're okay trading some of these other pieces away to get some more veteran, solid playmakers, better defenders, whatever it takes. You know, maybe they bolster up a little bit just in the fact that they've drafted Bedard and just kind of build around him immediately. You know, who knows? I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So that picks in. Obviously, the next one in line here we're waiting for is the Anaheim Ducks. I think the consensus here is that Adam Fantilli is most likely going to go second overall. But, you know, there's been a lot of talk around Mitch Koff and how he would normally, if Bedard was not here, he would normally be a first overall pick. I mean, the guy is just that good. If he was Canadian and not Russian, would we be even having this conversation?
I'll say this.
Okay.
If he came over and played in the CHL prior to Russians being banned from the import draft, because there are players in this draft that are Russian playing in North America. If he had done that and he was playing in, say, I don't know, some team in the OHL, he's probably going second overall.
Okay.
I mean, Adam Fantilli is a really, really strong all-around player. Great one-timer. Great wrist shot as well. He's got size, he skates well, he's got everything that NHL GMs want. You got a checklist for players you want to draft second overall. Adam Fantilli checks all of those boxes. But Matvei Michkov, the upside is just so high with this guy. Like, he could be potentially a Hall of Famer. Fantilli, maybe, but things would have to go really, really well for that to be the case with Fantilli. I think he's just going to be a really solid first-line center, maybe puts up 80 to 90 points in his peak. But Michkov is a guy that's going to be scoring 50-plus goals regularly, in my opinion, of course. You know, it's all subject to change. You never know.
Right. But that's,
prospects.
He's got 2 prospects going in the top 5 that have already scored 90 goals. It's happening next season.
not in the first season.
Well, yeah, especially with Michkov, because he's not going to be coming over for a few years.
It'll be like Kaprizov.
I fully expect him to be exactly like Kaprizov. He's going to come in, he's winning the Calder that year.
But do you think that, is there any sort of, I mean, maybe that's the fear. Is there any fear that he resigns, that he gets injured over those few years? Is something bad? I think that's the big unknown, is that since we don't have control of him now, right? That's the big worry for most teams.
the thing with Russian players, if you draft them, you hold their rights indefinitely. It's not like there's different rules for players being drafted out of different leagues. If you're drafted out of Russia, the team that drafts you holds your rights indefinitely. So say you don't want to come over, they still have the rights.
Right.
Say you don't want to play for the team that drafted you, then you're still going to get value for that player because you can trade him somewhere else. It's not like he's going to re-enter the draft or he's going to become a free agent.
Yeah.
Nope. If Michkov isn't going to be playing for your team, he's going to be playing for someone else. As far as injuries are concerned, like any player can get injured. Michkov, he's on the smaller side, but he's really agile, pretty fast. Like, there isn't anything specific that makes me worried he's going to get injured. He did have an injury at the beginning of the season, in preseason actually, but it was just kind of a freak accident. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. He's small. He might be injury prone, but that could happen to anybody, anywhere. I think was what your point was.
I think the concerns with Michkov, like not coming over or all that stuff, character issues, I think it's all overblown. Like, I don't speak Russian. I haven't had a chance to interview him or anything like that, but I don't know. It feels fishy to me.
Yeah. So basically, if he was Canadian, then we wouldn't even be talking about it. Like, as you just said, if he was playing in the O or anywhere else,
we would still be talking about it.
Okay.
But I still think he would probably be going second overall. Because in the CHL, he's scoring over 100 points easy.
Okay.
This year.
And it sounds like Anaheim's getting ready to make that second pick. Do you think it's going to be anywhere? Oh, they did.
And they took Leo Carlson, which is very interesting.
Oh,
that changes a lot of things right now for the Sharks.
Oh,
yeah, you're gonna have to keep me updated because I cannot tell what they're saying.
Yeah,
but
I'm not really listening to it.
I heard Swedish.
Wow.
So they took Leo Carlson.
Okay, so that's a surprise.
Which you heard there was a possible rumor beforehand.
I saw a couple of rumors just in the last hour before we went live. A couple of different sources saying Anaheim likes Leo Carlson. In my opinion, he's kind of similar to Adam Fantilli, just not quite as good. I understand the appeal. He played in the SHL this year. He already has over 90 games in the SHL as a draft-eligible player, and the SHL season is only like 50 games long or something like that. That is extremely rare for a first-time draft-eligible player to have that much pro experience. Like Fantilli, he's big, he's a center, he's got nasty hands, he's got a good shot as well. He has a very similar profile. I think, again, he's going to be a first-line center, probably another 80, 90-point guy like Fantilli. I think the goal-scoring upside, especially, is a little bit higher with Fantilli. Carlson is a little bit better of a two-way player right now, but overall, it's very surprising to see them go with Carlson. I think that's a little bit of a galaxy brain move, but
I feel like Anaheim probably could have traded down, maybe to the Sharks.
You probably could have traded down at least a 3 for sure. At least a 3. Fantilli would have gone second.
Well, because and again, this could be all posturing, but what we've heard about Columbus is we're taking a center.
Yeah.
Right. So that was kind of, we were thinking, okay, Fantilli's going to go, and then it's going to be either Carlson or Smith, right? Again, maybe that's just some posturing, but yeah, you would think that they'd be able to trade and get some more value, knowing that they weren't going to go with Fantilli.
If I had to guess, I would say Columbus was expecting to get Leo Carlson at 3. They've also been rumored that they really like Will Smith, so you never know. Maybe they take Smith here and Fantilli falls to the Sharks. That would be...
So if it comes down to Fantilli and Michkov, who would you want the Sharks to take?
Probably still Michkov.
Yeah.
But I will take Adam Fantilli in this draft any day of the week. I was not expecting him to be available at 3, so who knows? Maybe he's available at 4.
Yeah, we'll see what Columbus is going to do because they're going to be up next here. But
it wouldn't be draft day if things weren't interesting, right?
Everyone's mock drafts have just gone out the window after the second pick. Yeah.
I will say there was kind of 2 sides within the NHL. There were a lot of people who were thinking the draft starts at 2 because Anaheim could take anybody.
Yeah.
And there are other people that think it starts at 4. So they thought, like, Anaheim is 100% taking this player. Columbus is taking this player 4th at the Sharks. Is the first pick that's kind of up for grabs.
Yeah.
Clearly, those people were wrong. It starts at 2, so from here on out, it's pretty much all bets are off.
This kind of reminds me of last season, the draft, when Shane Wright, who was at the time going into that draft, was a consensus number 1. That draft was a little different though, because those guys were kind of going back and forth. There was no one like Connor Bedard, but Shane Wright ended up dropping to 4th overall, and Seattle nabbed him, which I think was highway robbery. And very lucky for Seattle, because now they have their 1-2 punch up the center for the next decade, probably.
Seattle, in their draft history so far, it's pretty short, but they've been a really smart team at the draft. They've drafted a lot of players that I've liked the last couple of years, so we'll see. We'll see what they do. I'm not sure where their first pick, or I'm not even sure if they have their first round pick this year or not. But
well, they made playoffs, so it would be later on. Right?
I can't think of any. Yeah, I can't think of.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't think of any major trades they made though. So I'm assuming they still have their pick. They're probably going to pick somebody good.
Of course, Seattle's going to be a nemesis for the Sharks in the Pacific.
Probably
more so than I think Vegas will be.
See, here's the thing. The reason we hate Vegas is not because of the team so much as the fan base.
Well,
I think Seattle doesn't have that type of fan base.
No, but what I don't like about Vegas, obviously the fan base, they're kind of entitled, and now they just won. It makes it even worse. But the way they treat their players, I don't like how the front office does that, because they traded them away. If they have a no movement clause, they're going to get traded at any point. Case in point, Riley Smith was traded today, I believe, this morning.
I did not hear about that. I did not know about that.
Oh, I think it was Riley Smith.
I missed that. What was that?
He got traded for a draft pick. Wasn't it Riley Smith? Maybe the people in the comments can help us out.
Someone in the comments help us out on that one. Fact check this guy right here. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Then they signed. Who's the guy that used to play for the Kings? And it was in Seattle. And he got traded to Vegas. Starts with a B. I need my computer.
Not gonna work.
I need my computer.
We'll have to check on that for later after the 3-hour stream is over. But apparently some of the action going on in the NHL with some trade rumors there. But I guess the point again, for me at least, was that's the reason that I don't like Vegas. It's not so much the team; it's their Smith to Pittsburgh.
I was right. Riley Smith got traded to Pittsburgh for a 3rd round pick.
There you go. Thank you, Kevin the Elder God. We appreciate your godly experience there.
See, I didn't make that up.
No.
Making me feel dumb over here.
Well, I was driving all morning, so that's probably why I didn't see that.
Getting some more booze.
Barberchef then signed right afterwards.
Right.
So they
well,
signed him.
He came from St. Louis, though.
But he was in LA, went to St. Louis. Oh no, he was St. Louis.
Barberchef came from St. Louis,
I was mixing him up with another player that was in LA.
It wouldn't be a Fin Factor stream if we didn't jump all over our words for a little bit there at least. So we're right on track. Don't worry, guys. It's all good. But yeah, again, I don't think that Seattle is going to have that type of fan base that I'm going to dislike them. The thing that bothers me though is that oh wait, did they just make the pick?
Fantilli just went.
Fantilli just went. Okay, so there you go.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
Surprised at 3 really, but I think Columbus would have been pretty dumb to pass on Fantilli at 3.
Now it's going to get very interesting.
Yeah, now is where it gets.
Now it's Smith or Michkov, pretty much.
Which is what we thought it was going to be in the first place, but they just swapped 2 and 3, gave us a little bit of hope to try to make this decision a lot easier than it should be. But, we've got, the pros over here saying go Michkov. You've got a lot of other people saying no, get the center. And I think Greer even said we're probably going to get a center, didn't he?
No.
I don't remember him saying
no. I'm pretty sure.
No, what he said was normally we take the best player in the draft.
Okay.
This draft happens to be a lot of centers.
Okay.
That was his quote. Not that we're
so
going to take
we'll probably take a center because that's what we have, or?
Well, he said we always take the best player in the draft, which to me he's hinting at Michkov. He also said that they met with the Russian players that they wanted to meet with, but wouldn't confirm if that was
one of them.
So I think they're going to take Michkov.
I want to do
I want them to take Michkov.
I don't want to do a roll call. I want to do a roll call, but I do want to ask for your comments and opinions. Throw it down here right now. Sharks are on the clock. Let us know who you think that they should be picking with the 4th overall.
Let's do a roll call. Do a roll call. Tell us where you're watching from.
You know what? We'll probably do multiple roll calls, so
Yes,
this will be the
exactly.
first one, okay? And I think Super Producer Jason might have a new feature to display for you guys. He's pumping his arms like this in the background, guys.
Who do you want the Sharks to take and where you're watching from?
Where you're watching from, yes, and who do you think the
We
Sharks
probably
should
got
pick?
another 2 minutes before the Sharks actually get to the podium, so
I'm guessing, yeah. So, or you know what? Hey, maybe they don't make the pick. Maybe there's a trade to announce.
that too.
Maybe they're looking at that Yaroslav, I think is the first name. Yaroslav Askarov. Isn't that great, by the way that name flows?
I think it's a great hockey
Yaroslav
name.
Askarov is phenomenal. I love
They
it.
did say they're probably gonna draft a goalie this year, so that makes me
Technically,
wonder.
In a sense.
It's a goalie that was drafted, so maybe.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder if he's not as appealing to Greer specifically because they have a goalie in this draft that they
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah.
Okay, that goalie in the draft, let's say the top goalie in this year's draft, who would be better, that goalie or Askarov?
Probably
I
Askarov.
would think, yeah.
So it would be worth
In my opinion, the top goalie in this draft is Trey Augustine from the U.S. National Team Development Program. He's really athletic, really calm, really poised, good positioning. He is on the smaller side. He's 6'2". Put up really, really gaudy numbers with the program though this year. He went like 29, 1 and 2 or something.
Wow.
Had like a 921 save percentage. Take it with a grain of salt. It's a really, really good team, but he has NHL starter upside for sure.
I don't know, 6'2", that's a little short for Greer's liking.
A lot of the best goalies in this draft are a bit on the smaller side.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question in a second, but I just take it in if you're listening at home and you hear all the fans over here going, let's go Sharks, clapping it up. There's a lot of really good energy in the building here right now. If you're not here, I wish you could be. And if you are here, oh, wait a minute, here's Super Producer Jason with the map. He's showing everybody where you are
Popping up from.
Yeah, popping up from. There you go. We got someone over there in the middle of the
Ready
world.
from
What is
Prague.
that?
That looks
That's
like
Prague.
Czechia.
Oh, wow. There you
Yep,
go.
Prague.
I mean, the first one.
Yeah.
I love
Walnut
that.
Creek.
Walnut Creek. That is not Walnut Creek. You said that's Prague.
No, Prague.
I know, I'm kidding. If by chance the Sharks were to pick the goalie you were just speaking of, where is that goalie slotted to go in this draft?
It's hard to
Ryan
say.
McRae?
I think he's probably going to go in the last few picks of the first round. So I have him ranked at 30th, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
He has been as high as like 25. He's been in that range for me all year. So it wouldn't be a terrible reach for him at 25, but he's probably not going to be available with their first pick in the second round. So if they really want Augustine specifically, they're probably going to have to trade down or just take him with that pick. But there's other goalies. Like, Augustine is not the consensus. I would say like 70 to 80% of scouts would say he's the best goalie, but there are people that think it's Michael Hrabal, who is a lot bigger. He's 6'4", really solid positioning, gets beaten clean over the shoulders though, which is a tough spot for every goalie, but for him in particular, that's his big weakness that kind of scares me a little bit, because even if you have the size, if you're getting beat by shots like right by your ears, it's a really hard shot to stop, and I don't know how goalie development works, so I can just tell you what he's good at and what he's not at now. And right now, I think his upside is probably a little bit higher. He could be like, a top 10, top 15 starter in the league. But there's more risk there as well, because he could just be not an NHL level goalie at all, in my opinion.
So what I'm hearing from you, though, is that, remind me, where are the Sharks picking with their second pick?
26?
26. I mean, maybe you don't need to trade the 4th overall to get Askarov. You can just trade your 20 or use your 26 to get the best goalie in the draft. And you hear Fonseca out there. Fonseca's going nuts. If you don't know Fonseca, he's the guy that does all the in-arena. He's the in-arena host for the San Jose Barracuda. He's out here in his flashy suit as he always is. He's getting the crowd all pumped up and everything. We're trying to have this conversation, but also lend an ear to what is going on.
Well, you can see the draft party behind us too in the background.
Right, yeah.
There is a mechanical shark instead of a mechanical bull that
Yes.
you can ride around on. There is some
Human billiards.
ski ball.
They had
Human billiards.
Yeah, with the
There's a couple food trucks out here.
kicking soccer balls or whatever.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
This is the biggest moment of my Greer's career so far.
This is.
So Greer's talking right now. The crowd's reacting to it. Unfortunately, I don't think we're allowed to just kind of stop and listen in.
Right.
I don't know what he said, but they didn't like it. I don't know what that was.
Well, I think if there,
He probably thanked Gary Bettman.
Oh,
say if there was a trade,
fair enough.
If there was a trade going on, we would see Gary Bettman up there, not Mike Greer. So
Absolutely. So we're making the
sign
pick.
that. Oh, Patrick Marleau. There we go. Patrick Marleau's going to be the one announcing.
Okay, that's an interesting development. Patty Marleau out there in Nashville.
I asked if we can get Patrick Marleau on the show today, and they go, I don't think he's going to be here. So
Will Smith. Will Smith
was taken.
Okay. I mean, I think maybe you're a little on the fence about it, but I mean, if you're going to get a center, Will Smith is the next best center, right? Oh, no!
Okay, so my board at the top is a little bit different than a lot of people's. I am lower on Will Smith specifically than a lot of people, which is why I was really hoping they were going to get Michkov. In my opinion, I believe the next highest center on my board is actually also from the development program, but it's Oliver Moore. Oliver Moore, he centered their second line. So he didn't get, the same kind of minutes, the same kind of opportunity with the program that Will Smith did, but he's the best skater in the draft by far. Really strong two-way game, always puts in his best effort. If he can just get his shot, work on his shot a little bit, become a little bit more of a scoring threat, like the upside with Moore is, in my opinion, higher than with Smith, and the floor is really safe because he has that skating ability to rely on. Really smart player as well. So, I don't know. If you watch Oliver Moore, he's just super fun to watch. He's one of the most fun players to watch in this draft. I think Smith, one thing you have to consider with Smith is that line that he played on with Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard, like all three of those guys are projected to go top 15 in this draft. They had insane chemistry together. So, maybe his numbers were inflated a little bit by playing with great finishers. Because Will Smith, probably the worst finisher on that line. Ryan Leonard and Gabe Perreault both have better shots than him. And he was more of a playmaker on that line than a goal scorer. I mean, he still scored like 50 goals, don't get me wrong. But personally, I like Oliver Moore more. So
the Sharks are going to be adding another playmaking center to their arsenal, I guess, of their prospects.
We need goal scorers.
Exactly.
The Sharks need goal scorers. I mean, Will Smith is going to score goals.
Yeah,
he's probably going to score, 30 goals at the NHL level. But there's a lot of
William Eklund is a playmaker.
Yeah.
That's also the top prospect.
William Eklund is a playmaker. Thomas Bordeleau added a bit of goal scoring this season, but historically speaking, was drafted as more of a playmaker. Daniel Gushin's a scorer, but, not as much draft pedigree with him. We'll see, you can't really rely on a guy like Gushin coming in and being a 40-goal scorer. I think it's possible, but really they need more bona fide goal scorers in our pipeline, so...
Thank you, Super Producer Jason. Nicholas Deegan for the comment. They played the Fresh Prince theme when he got drafted. Well done. Hey, at least he didn't go up to the podium and punch Bettman. That's or slap him, rather, I should say.
There's still time. There's still time.
So, he said the Fresh Prince of something hill, whatever the guy's from. Anyway, so if you're to focus on the positives of Will Smith, okay, obviously you've got a different opinion of the guys that you would have liked to have in his stead. But if we're focusing on the positives, you said playmaking ability, very good skating, edge work, those types of things. So what kinds of things can the Sharks fans expect to see when he's out on the ice? Is he kind of like another Eklund, essentially, or does he bring something else to the table as well?
I wouldn't say he's like William Eklund. He attacks the middle of the ice more. He's got better hands. He has better puck skills than William Eklund. Really, really nice hands. Granted, I'm not as high on Eklund as maybe a lot of people are. I was really high on him in his draft year, but he hasn't quite developed the way I thought he would. Leo Carlsson, for example, scored at a very similar rate in the SHL as William Eklund did in his draft year. But I don't think Eklund is going to be quite the player Leo Carlsson will be. But with Smith, you know, he's probably going to be our first-line center for a pretty long time. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. The top end of this draft is still really, really good. And Smith is part of that group. He's not my favorite, but really good hands, really good vision. I don't actually think he's a great skater. Perhaps I said that earlier. That was a mistake. He's probably the second best skater on his line. Gabe Pro is a really bad skater, but he's not particularly fast. In fact, that's one of my main criticisms of Smith. It's why I have him lower than a guy like Oliver Moore. He's not really that fast, but he plays like he is that fast. And that works at the junior level when you're playing against junior level competition. If he tries playing that way against NHL level competition, I think he's going to struggle a lot more than people might expect. Granted, I don't expect him to come to the NHL right away. He's probably going to stay. In fact, I think he's committed to a university. I'm not certain. But,
one more year, I believe, at least, that he committed to,
Yeah, so he's not going to be coming in for a couple of years probably. But as it is right now, I would like to see him refine his game a little bit, play at the pace he's comfortable with, because he's not going to have line mates like the guys he's playing with on the Sharks, that's for sure. And he's not that fast by NHL standards.
So is Mike Greer becoming somewhat predictable because another guy out of the Boston area, correct? Isn't that where he's from?
Yeah.
He's at college in
Yes.
Boston, so he had ties.
Yes, there
with
are
everything.
There are ties to Smith. His son went to high school with Smith,
right,
apparently. But I think in terms of predictability, I look more at the type of player he's drafting in general, not just like, you know, there's the Boston connections, but I think so far it's very limited sample size, but I think he's gone with safe picks with most of his picks so far. So maybe he's a guy that's going to take more safe picks, which I'm not really a big fan of, but we'll see what happens.
The Sharks did do a home run pick a couple years ago when they took the defenseman that we just traded. Oh, man.
Ryan Merkley?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Merkley
Merkley,
was
right?
a home run pick.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, that's a different staff, but different organization pretty much. But we have seen them take home runs before, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is much different. I would rather take a home run on Michkov than taking Merkley 21st overall.
Yeah, there's a big difference when you're drafting 4th versus, 20th or where they got.
So, interestingly enough, Montreal just made their pick. They had Carey Price do it, and they selected Reinbacher, who was a defenseman in this draft. He's supposed to be the best defenseman in this draft, correct?
Not in my opinion.
Oh,
No,
boy.
not
This is why I like having him on. Speak on it.
Here, let me get out my rankings just so I
Okay,
can
here we
double
go.
check
Here we
where I
go.
have him.
Yeah. So, I guess, everyone was kind of expecting, maybe Michkov would fall. Do we think that he was going to fall this much?
Yeah, I think people did, but we'll see. The Capitals
I
are
expect him
probably,
to go to Washington at 8.
Yeah, the Capitals are probably going like this the whole time. And I
fair
think they're
enough.
8th
Fair
overall.
enough.
I have 2 defensemen ranked higher than Reinbacher.
Okay.
So I have Reinbacher at 17.
Wow.
My top-ranked defenseman is a guy I've been talking about all year. It's Dmitry Simashev. He played 18 games in the KHL. This year also spent a lot of time in the MHL, which is the Russian Junior League. Did not score a lot. But the tools are there for him to score. I think he's a very divisive prospect because the production hasn't been there. I think there's more offense there to be had, but what most scouts can agree on, he's the best transition defender in the draft by far.
Wow.
If you have the puck and you're trying to get into the offensive zone when Simashev is on the ice with control, you're not dumping it in, Simashev is going to stop you.
Is he a right-handed shot or left-handed shot?
Simashev is a left-handed shot, I believe.
Okay.
But
Is there a chance he could fall super late into this draft?
Simashev is one of the biggest wild cards in the draft for me.
So he could
specifically
be there, possibly.
because the offense hasn't been there.
Yeah. But he
A
could be
lot
there.
of players with his profile tend to go like early in the second round,
Yeah.
except for the fact that he's 6'4", and he's one of the best skaters in the draft, which is not a combination you get very often.
Can't teach that.
Yeah.
So despite the offensive struggles he's had this year, he could go pretty high. So I don't know if he's going to be available at 26. If he is, he's probably going to be one of my targets, if not the player I would pick in that range. And by the way, every year I do this thing where I make my own picks wherever the Sharks are drafting, just as a way to measure myself as a scout. And for that 4th pick, I would have taken Michkov. He's still available, so I would have taken him at 4. We'll see what happens when he gets 26.
So you go looking back through the years to see where you did right and where you did wrong, maybe.
Last year is the first year that I did it for the entire draft.
Yeah.
In 2020, I have an honorary member, which is JJ Peterka, which, if you'll remember, the Sharks actually traded down with their 2nd-round pick to Buffalo. They traded from 34 to 38, and they took Thomas Bordeleau with that pick. At 34, with our pick, Buffalo took JJ Peterka, and so far, Peterka has developed quite a bit better than Bordeleau. So, I mean, could have been beginner's luck, but...
I think when you get it right beyond the first round, though, that's kind of showing quite a bit of understanding of the prospects.
I mean, it was 34. It's practically the first round.
Well, but it's tough, I think, still, right? To have an understanding of all these different prospects, even if it was 2nd round or early 2nd round.
Yeah.
To be able to say, yeah, that guy, because a lot of GMs can't do that, right? So
yeah, I actually thought Peterka should have gone in the 1st round. I watched him specifically because I thought he was the best player that the Sharks had a realistic chance of drafting. And they had a chance at 31. They took Ozzy Weisblatt. And then they had a chance at 34. They traded down and ended up taking Bordeleau. So not my first choice for either of those picks. But
so question then, does Michkov make it to, would you say 8th for Washington? Does he make it to 8th? Or is someone taking him before that? 6 and 7 is only between them, right?
The only team that I could see taking him would be Arizona at 6, because they also have the 12th pick.
Okay.
So they kind of have a safe floor with that 12th pick. They can get somebody who's a lot safer, who's still going to have a lot of upside.
Yeah.
So they're the team that is poised to draft Michkov of anybody else. Otherwise, it'll most likely be Washington.
Gotcha, okay. And then as far as... Who's the other forward? The other one we were talking about. Beyond Michkov, there was one more. I cannot remember now. I guess that was it. So, okay, the ones that are coming up here, is there anybody in there that you would think, you know what? I mean, obviously, you talked about the other forward. But is there anyone else that the Sharks should have taken, in your opinion,
at 4?
Before taking Will Smith?
So, Smith probably would have been my 3rd choice with that pick, behind Oliver Moore and Matvei Michkov.
Okay, so just those 2?
Just those 2, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. We'll have to see how it pans out as the years go by. But I don't know. I'm excited because it's a new name. It's fresh blood. It's someone coming in. This is what the Sharks need. And I'm glad they didn't trade it. I'm glad they didn't move it. I know there is some. It's always exciting to be able to move picks around and get guys in here, but for them to get, let's say, like we're talking about Askarov, and then this, unicorn trade where they're getting extra picks on top of it, I don't know. I don't think that happens, first of all. And, again, the Sharks need goal scoring. Part of goal scoring is being able to move the puck, so hopefully the playmaking ability kind of sparks other guys. Maybe Eklund's known as a playmaker, but if he had another playmaker alongside him, maybe he turns into more of a goal scorer. So, again, I'm recklessly optimistic, as always. You guys know me.
Maybe Toronto trades Nylander for Karlsson.
And that's just it. So if they do make a trade for Karlsson, first of all, Toronto's got so much money tied up in cap space, they would have to unload somebody big, right? So I wouldn't even be opposed to that necessarily. But I don't know. It's something else we can talk about as the stream goes on here. But I guess now really the biggest question is, when is Michkov going to go? Because that's the only other guy that we're thinking the Sharks should have grabbed.
I'll say this. Reinbacher going ahead of Michkov is a crime against humanity.
That's when they're going to look back at this draft in a couple years.
I understand it. He's a big right-handed shot defenseman with some offensive upside, but Reinbacher, to me, I don't...
Whoa, Dmitry... Give the name. Silachev? What did he say?
Dimichev?
Wait, who was that?
That's Arizona.
That's Arizona.
Arizona just drafted Dmitry Simashev?
See, it's good for me because I only know so much about so many. This guy knows everything, and his
That is-
reaction. Wow. Okay,
Hats
talk
off.
to me about it. What surprises you about that?
Again, the offensive production just hasn't been there. There hasn't been that much hype around this guy. I mean, I don't even have him this high. I have him at 9.
Okay.
And I'm one of the highest people on him that I know. It felt like NHL teams were probably going to be lower on him than a lot of the public people were going to be. But clearly that was wrong, at least in the case of the Coyotes. Incredible transition defender. Both defensively, he's just elite at preventing zone entries against. Like, if you have the puck, you're dumping it in against him. He's not letting you get in. He creates turnovers at his own blue line really well. He's also a really good skater and has good puck handling. So, as a puck carrier...
Who they traded away? Chikrin, sorry.
Chikrin is way more of a goal scorer than Simashev is. He has more offensive upside by far. But Simashev he is really strong in transition as a puck carrier. So even though he might not be the most skilled as it is right now when it comes to his offensive production, he's at least getting the puck through the neutral zone. He's establishing zone time, and he can get the puck off to more skilled players.
So, yeah, that's kind of, we wanted to get through that, and we kind of wanted to see where Michkov was going to go, but it seems like what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll have to figure out later on. We'll fill you guys in if you're not watching at home. We'll let you guys know after the fact where he goes, because that to me is the most interesting one now that we know kind of that first 5, 6. Yeah, where's he going to go? So we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. In fact, if you're going to go somewhere, just go to the bathroom or go get some water or whatever it is you're going to do. Come on back. We'll be right back here. We're going to be here pretty much the entire draft. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in just a little bit. right, and welcome back, guys. If you did come back to the show, surprise, surprise, Scott Hannan decided to join us here. How about that, huh? Not bad. Scott, thanks for coming in and helping us out here.
Yeah, awesome. No problem. Glad to be here, guys.
Yeah, great. So while we were gone, Philadelphia made their pick. Remember we were saying, where is Mitchkov going to go? Well, there you go. He just went to
7th overall to Philadelphia Flyers.
I think Graham's eyes just about popped out of his eyes when he heard that one, man. My goodness. So, there you go. He's going to go to Philadelphia. So, best of luck to him. Now, we have, again, our guest here, Scott Hannan. Scott, we're here at the draft, and Aaron wanted to ask you about your experience being a player, waiting to have your name get called, getting drafted. So go ahead and fire away here.
Sure, just kind of go through what were the feelings that you had when you were getting drafted, because you were drafted in the first round back in, I won't say the year if you don't want me to. 97?
A long time ago. I was in the 90s, 97. No, when I got drafted, it was in Pittsburgh. And I don't know if there was much nerves. I really didn't know where I was going to get picked. It's actually, a funny story. I think I had my hand in a bag of popcorn because when San Jose's pick came up, I did not think San Jose was an option. I thought I bombed the interview during the interview process. Like, they were really kind of, and if you know Dean Lombardi at all, the way he holds his interviews, him and Berkey, they kind of like go after you a little bit. And they challenge you and they see how you're going to respond to that.
So go to that. Do you remember the questions or anything?
I'm so interested in this.
Yeah.
They kind of, attacked my team a little bit when my junior team and my D partner, and they kind of, wow, and I was like, and I kind of got offended a little bit. And I started, kind of getting back at him a little bit. I was like, afterwards, I was like, I kind of had to work on my calmness. I was, because, he asked just off the cuff questions. And, in the end, looking back on it, I could tell he was obviously asking me a lot of questions, and it was in a group thing. So that was probably a good thing. But, right when they picked me, they kind of laughed. And, I think it was even up on stage when Tim Burke, did you think you were going to get drafted by us? I said, not a chance.
Were they trying to see your reaction and kind of like how you handled?
I think it's almost like a psychological thing. It's, they want to see how you stand up. They want to see under pressure or how you feel about your teammates. Are you going to be okay with that type of thing? And in the end, they liked the fact that I was sticking up for my teammates and sticking up for my D partner especially. And obviously, here we are today. How many years is that later?
I'm not going to do that to you, buddy. I'm not going to do it. No. So just kind of, again, really interesting. That kind of the feelings that go on with these players. Some of the guys that are maybe waiting to be drafted and whatnot. So, again, thank you for the insight there. Another guy that got drafted, I believe, Sam, you're correct, Patty Marleau. He just was up there and made the pick. Now, you had a little chuckle on him being up there. He gets hired by the Sharks, and the first thing they do is they send him up to make the pick, right?
Yeah. It was funny. I was even surprised seeing that up there. Like, obviously, I knew it was in the works that he was probably, going to get hired, and it's great. Obviously, somebody like that, played in San Jose for so long. Games played leader. He's such a key guy to have around for players to look up to for players that are coming in. So that's obviously special. It's great to see him, working for the team. But then to get the first pick, they really throwed him right in there.
Right.
He did pretty good. I thought he did pretty good.
As you said, better than Carey Price did.
Oh, you had to go there on that one. I know Price.
He's not a Shark alone.
Hey, I know Pricey pretty good. I'm going to have to give him a hard time after that. I don't know what was going on there.
Oh, man. Nice. So, again, Patrick Marleau is on the staff. And we're just kind of curious, do you have any interest? I know you do a lot of things with the Sharks organization, Alumni Association. You're there with the Learn to Skate, the Learn to Play for the kids. You coach the Sharks teams, the 10U. I know you do GSC 12U. So you're very involved with a lot of the growth in the kids there. Do you have any interest in doing something more in like front office type thing, or Patty's doing development?
You're always interested a little bit. Being in the game for so long. But to tell you the truth, right now, like, I'm enjoying my time with my family. It's one of those things, call it a little bit of luck, call it whatever. But my kids, when I retired, were right at that age where I could step on the ice with them. I'm coaching both the kids, both those teams. I'm helping out down there with the youth programs, the alumni. So, this organization's been great to the alumni. They like having us around. I do a little bit of the radio, TV, and they allow me to keep my, my sort of foot in the door. But they know where my head is at right now, and that's 100% with my kids and with my family. And who knows down the road? You you never know.
It's a great work-life balance you got going on.
Yeah, I love it. I was just laughing there today. I was like, I was in summer mode because me and my boy went surfing this morning. So I had to rush over, got caught in traffic, and came back here. I was like, oh wait, I got to get down to the rink today.
Awesome. No, it's not a big deadline today, so that's good. Be here by the 4th pick.
Yeah, I made it just in time.
There you go. Yeah. So the last time we kind of were on the show together here, we were at Kathy's power skating. Showed us a thing or two. Maybe more than two. I don't know. But the last thing I think you said to Aaron was that he would be ready for the beer league games with a nice little laugh there. Aaron was wondering. We'll talk about the alumni game in a second, but if you guys have like a secret beer league where you just go out and dominate, and I'm curious, if you do still play anywhere, where might that be?
Yeah, you can't talk about beer league.
Okay.
Okay. First rule of beer league. You can't talk about beer league.
Right.
No, we a couple of us have a pickup game that we get into. I think Mark Smith plays up in the city. He tries to drag me out there all the time, but we hop on the ice every once in a while. There's been some sneak jumbos out there, and I've been out there a few times, so we have some fun. It's good.
That's good. Alumni, you wanted to ask him about.
Oh yeah, how'd the alumni game go? Yeah. Before we saw you guys were about to play. I think you were practicing leading up to it. So how did it go?
Oh, you and Smitty, yeah.
To be honest, it couldn't have went off any better, I think. Obviously at Tech CU, the fan support for it was phenomenal. We sold out, Tech CU. And the guys had a lot of fun. I think it was cool. The Sharks, again, I can't say enough how much they helped out in that situation. Down from the Mikey Aldrich, the training staff, we were in the dressing room, and I think it was just a really good feeling. It's nice when you get for alumni to come back and kind of get that same feeling, and then to have the place sold out and the fans cheering, seeing Patty is out there with his kids playing hockey.
Yeah.
It was just, what can I say, a perfect weekend. And then you get to go to the game the next night. They gave us they got us in a suite, and we had a bunch of guys coming through. Guys came in. I think when we first started it, we were like, man, are we going to get a roster, right? Like, how many guys are going to come out? And we had close to 40 guys.
Wow. That's amazing.
You know what I mean? Like, to the point where you're almost at the end, you're like, do we have enough space for everybody?
Yeah, wow.
So, obviously, it was a phenomenal turnout. It was unbelievable.
Well, I don't think he had his hand in a box of popcorn when he got called, but can you tell us anything that you might know about the Sharks' newest prospect, Will Smith? Is there anything you know about the guy?
Not too much more than anybody else does. I know that he was the Sharks liked him, obviously for a lot of different reasons. A North American player, he's big, 6 feet, 180 pounds. He's an elite playmaker. And as far as those, when you want those picks, you want a guy that can break open the game and he can handle it. And he's got elite hands. Some say maybe the best in the draft. Okay. So that's an important part of the game. I like his size. And we'll see. Obviously when you draft, sometimes they're so young. Yeah. And I know back when we got drafted, way back, it was even harder because I think the size difference. Now with the game being skill-wise, it's not so much like that. These guys can step in and make an impact right away, especially with the way they train. They're ready to play at this level. So it's going to be exciting to come see them with the teal on.
Yeah, awesome. Do you have any other...
Yeah, you enjoying the festivities here? Yeah. There's a mechanical shark.
Are you guys going to get on that?
Oh, later. We will be on there, yeah.
There's a challenge, maybe on camera?
I think so.
I think that would be a nice touch.
You know what? I actually already asked your producer, Jason. He said, you guys got me taxed right now. I can't handle it. I can't go do the B-roll stuff for you guys. I'm sorry. This is all we got.
He's just saying that because
I will not be able to get on the mechanical shark for you guys. I'm so sorry. I'll take my phone out and I'll follow Scott over there, though. We're going to make him hop on. Not a problem.
We're going to make you do it with your New Jersey on.
Yes, my Noah Gregor jersey. He didn't know about the Noah Gregor jersey. Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up yet.
Is there a story there?
There is a story there. So, okay, we'll go ahead and do it. You guys already know. So, not this past season, but the season before, he was creeping up on 10 goals, and I said he's not going to score 10 goals. He's only going to get to 9. And the last day he scored that 9th goal, did he not?
He got the 9th goal.
He got the 9th goal on the last day of the season.
I think he had a goal called back against him, too. So he would have gotten 10.
Whatever. So he only gets to 9, and the bet was that I get to hit him in the face with a pie, which, by the way, has not happened yet, and it's going to happen soon. Yet.
Mechanical bull down there.
Right.
Ooh,
pie.
Okay.
Lots of stuff going on.
I like the way this guy thinks.
Last season.
So then last season, I said the same thing. He's not going to get to 10, and he goes and, what was it, like 9 games left? He scores 5 goals?
Yeah.
Something like that, and he gets to his 10th goal.
At the end of the season.
So my punishment was he bought me a Noah Gregor jersey. That was my punishment. So
gonna have to wear it to games.
I've been punished. I now own a Noah Gregor jersey.
It's kind of a nice punishment.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I came out
Better
on
than a
top.
pie in the face.
Absolutely.
Right?
So actually, the
I'm
real
a nice
punishment.
guy. All right, I'm a nice guy.
The real punishment, and you remember this, you didn't know about it, was that we were supposed to shoot pucks at you, or he was supposed to shoot pucks at
you.
you.
Ran out of time that day.
At Kathy's power skating, and unfortunately, we didn't get around to that.
I even bought a cup for that day.
Well, maybe for the next alumni game, we can throw you in the pads and stick you in the net. Hey,
Oh
what
my
about that?
God!
Oh, man.
Do I get to go into
It's
the
just
Sharks locker
warmer.
room
There
finally?
you go.
Going from never played hockey to having former NHL players shooting at me. That sounds fantastic.
You should be fine. You played soccer as a goalie.
I played soccer.
Yeah, he's
I'll be
good.
fine.
He's good. It's the same thing, right?
I'll try to
Sort of,
catch it.
yeah,
I'll try
totally.
to. I'll go
for
like
sure.
this. And it'll be great.
Oh my God! All right. Well, again, unless you got anything else, again, hey Scott, thank you so much for stopping in. We really do appreciate it. It's always good to have some professional experience when we're talking about things like this, and especially over at Kathy's. If you haven't seen that, by the way, go check out the episode. We went over to do Kathy's power skating. It's a spotlight episode. Scott and Mark Smith are there with us, and they do a little bit of chirping, just a little bit. I was expecting more, but that's okay. Anyway, again, Scott, thanks so much. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, no problem. My pleasure, guys.
So, guys, we're going to go ahead and take another quick little break, and we'll be right back. And what's going to happen after this now?
We'll go over some of the picks that were made.
We'll go over some of the stuff here, and I think we're going to have another special guest for you guys. So come back, stay tuned. All right, that was a lot of fun. I love having him on the show. He's such a great personality,
Yeah, he
you know.
is.
So
He's good with TV too. He's got a lot of experience now being on TV a lot.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we're back. We got Graham here again. Now, a few picks happened while we were talking with Scott and while we were at the break there. And a few surprises. I saw, again, your eyes popped out of your head on a couple of these, especially the Michkov one. You
Yeah,
were,
that's
whoa.
the big story. Michkov going
Okay.
to Philly at 7. That caught me by surprise. Of course, with Philly, they kind of have a lot of turmoil in their organization right now. Danny Briere, brand new GM, been in the organization for a while, but you never know what the philosophy is going to be like. Kind of similar to the Sharks last year. Mike Grier comes in right before the draft. It's not his, it's not the team he's built. He probably is familiar with some of the players, but not too familiar. So I don't know what the thinking is in Philly, but obviously I love the pick because Michkov is definitely the best player available at 7. It's just not a pick I was expecting him to make. I was fully expecting him to go to the Capitals at 8, but they ended up taking Ryan Leonard, which is very on brand. If Michkov was your primary target and you miss him, Ryan Leonard makes a lot of sense as a backup option because he's probably the best goal scorer still on the board at that point.
And that's going to be the maybe not number 1 replacement, but a replacement for when Ovechkin retires down the road.
Yeah, he'll probably play the Ovechkin spot on the power play. He's got a great one-timer. He's got a great shot in general, scoring instance from the power play. From that left circle, he's really dangerous.
Now, one of your more favorite players, as you said, was Moore. What
Yes.
was the first name again?
Oliver.
Oliver Moore.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. Did Oliver Moore get chosen yet?
He's still on the board.
So this is, for you, this is the gem that's still out there waiting for somebody to scoop him up.
Yes. At this point, let's see, where are we at? I'm not sure exactly where we're at,
Something like that, maybe 10.
but Moore is the highest ranked player I have still available. Moore and Zach Benson. Benson, I was expecting to be off the board by now. Really good two-way center, undersized, not a great skater, but he skates really hard. He's a really hard worker, good at every end of the ice, really smart, and just really, really good vision. Probably the best playmaker left on the board, and also one of the higher upside bets left on the board. Kind of surprised he's still available.
So do you think the teams that are coming up here, those are the next targets, the best player available, or do you think that they've got other guys that they're targeting that, I specifically wanted this player?
It's hard to say, especially with Zach Benson, because the size and the skating are probably going to be concerns for NHL teams. That's why he's still available.
Right.
With the upside alone, he would have been drafted already if that wasn't the case. With Oliver Moore, it's hard to say. I don't know. I don't know why Oliver Moore is still available. He probably should be drafted by now.
Maybe we'll hear it.
Maybe. I don't know. So let's see. There was actually, we'll let this thing kind of go on in the background, and we'll get kind of your information or your thoughts on a couple other things that are happening. There was another trade, a smaller trade, and I don't know if we talked about this already. The Agazino trade. Yeah.
Oh, we did not.
Yeah.
I might have mentioned it, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, any of these things. Let's go ahead and just kind of go through whatever. So I know Agazino was one of them. Now this guy had a year left on his contract. He was the captain for the Barracuda actually, and they traded him away. Some people didn't understand the trade, and especially you're trading for Schuster, who is going to be a UFA. So do the Sharks actually like Schuster for some reason, and they're planning on signing?
wasn't he
Doubtful.
6'6"?
I know almost nothing about this guy.
Okay. Schuster is huge. I think that's part of it. But I think from what I thought somebody had said that Agazino requested the trade. So if he might have. I mean, the Sharks are bringing in all of these prospects, and he's probably going to get bumps from the AHL at some point, or at least his position. Or maybe they took the captaincy away and they're going to name someone else captain, or maybe he's just wanted a kind of a fresh start. But he's kind of a lifer AHL, kind of a tweener where he's too good for the AHL but not good enough for the NHL, and that's kind of where his career is. But maybe he just wanted, I forgot where he went. Was it Anaheim?
Anaheim, right?
Yeah, back
Maybe
because
he
he came from Anaheim, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he wanted to go down south, go back home. I don't know.
I think this
It's
is one
a
of those-
minor trade, so it's like
Yeah, and again, it's funny that you say he's too good for the AHL but not good enough for the NHL. It's amazing how fine that line is, But again, I think that in this trade, it's not so much that they're interested in Schuster and they're going to re-sign necessarily. Right. I think they're just doing Agazino a solid. But hey, could be wrong on that one. Just something that happened. We thought we'd bring it up. before we kind of move on. So I don't know if there was any other trade rumor type stuff we wanted to bring up or whatever. But
We already went over the rumors here. More of just the Erik Karlsson trade, if and when he'll get traded and where he'll go to.
And I want to save that for just a little later on because, as we know, the first round is it was like 3 hours long. I think we're actually an hour into it, which we've made it this far. As you guys know, we can talk for too long. So I think we'll be okay, but my goodness, it's very, very long. Regardless, so what we're going to do is we're going to take an extremely short break, very, very short. So don't go anywhere. We've got one more guest. We'll probably have another guest even beyond that. So we've got another guest coming on. So hold with us for just a little bit. We'll be right back. I promise it'll be quick, okay? Good? Good. Let's do it. Told you it'd be quick. So, guys, we are here with the Sharks CMO. That's the Chief Marketing Officer, Doug Bentz. Doug's been on the show before. We love having you on. You have a lot of good information for things that are happening with the promos and everything else, and we'll get to some of that stuff in just a second. But I guess first and foremost, we're going to start at the beginning of the interview. Let's talk about the beginning of the game. Before the game even starts, the pregame stuff. They added lights one year. They did, better lighting one year. Is there anything we can expect for the pregame this season?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Oh,
It's good to see you guys. You guys are great friends of the Sharks, and I do enjoy, sharing some insights with you that
Thank you.
maybe some are before the public, which is good to do on the show. But in terms of pregame, we don't have necessarily like a big installation like we have in the past. But what we really found last year was that fans were really liking the live entertainment we were bringing in, especially for like our theme nights. So we're going to lean even heavier into that. So think bands, think big productions that are kind of meant to be a little bit more of a show to the game. And I'm going to probably leave it there because I don't want to give away too much. But for opening night especially, I think we're thinking of something that's never been done, certainly at our arena, and may have never been done in hockey. So that live entertainment, though, is something that is really strategically important for us because we've gotten such good feedback, and it just brings another dimension to the game that, if things aren't going great on the ice, it's still a great time. Right. It's a party atmosphere. Sort of like this, like we're trying to bring people together and really just have fun as Shark fans together.
So this is very cool. I don't think the Sharks have ever done a draft party like this before.
We've never done this. We've done them at Stanley's, at Sharks Ice, but we thought this was the year, especially a lot of excitement around the draft. Really building momentum, it feels like, where people are coming back in, getting excited about Teal, and just trying to do something new and different. Again, that comes back to this live entertainment and like bringing people together in new ways, that is going to be a real focus of ours for this coming year.
So a couple things. One, a live entertainment, I'm all for it, as long as it has nothing to do with a knight trying to slay somebody in the middle of the... We're not doing that, right?
I'll hold my maybe personal opinion on that, but it will not be like that. No.
All right, good. The other thing is, as you said, there's lots of things going on behind us here. Sharks haven't done anything like this before, so I do have to ask, have you ridden the mechanical shark yet?
I have not.
No?
I have signed the waiver, so I'm available to. But I'm not sure my
to.
family would like me coming home injured from a mechanical shark. But I enjoy seeing other people do that who are maybe in the younger age bracket.
Yeah, Hannan was just here. He promised he was getting on it. That's what I heard. He said he was totally getting on it.
Wow, that's news to me.
Maybe not. Themes, though, for the promos. Now, Teal Together was a theme. I'm blanking on some of the other ones that you guys have had, but that was certainly one that stood out to me. In fact, I think my phone is Teal Together on the screensaver. But what is the theme that we can expect for this year's, I guess, promos, or just the theme for the season?
Yeah, so Teal Together actually continues.
Oh, good.
And that's really what most would think is like a marketing campaign, but it's really more of an organizational mantra at this point about really having our whole organization have efforts to make hockey, ice sports, our organization much more welcoming, inclusive. We feel this is a really good opportunity at this time right now to really bring new fans in, introduce hockey, introduce our organization, and we feel Teal Together really encapsulates not only just Sharks hockey, but really everything we do at all of our venues, ice sports, what we do in the community, and we've really felt some momentum and good feedback on that. So Teal Together as the overall message will continue.
That's great. I won't have to change my phone. So I do have to ask, and I'll let you kind of take the last couple questions, but with the NHL having taken away the special warm-up jerseys, and maybe that's a little bit conflicting with the message of togetherness and whatnot, but that's really just the jerseys, right? There's still this whole kind of theme for that night, whether it's pride, whether it's Hockey Fights Cancer, whether it's military appreciation, any of these special theme nights, you're still going to be celebrating whatever that theme is within the construct of that game, just maybe not through a jersey, through warm-ups. That's the first part of the question. If you can kind of comment on that, but then also,
it's a long question.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm getting there. But then also, will you still be creating those jerseys? Because I know that you guys auction those off and they go to good causes.
Yeah, so you almost answered for me for the first part in your question, so I appreciate that. So the NHL made their decision, but that does not change what we believe in. That does not change what we're going to do whatsoever. The jerseys in pregame were, I think, an important part for maybe visibility, but all those things you mentioned, we are going to continue to do and actually put more investment in. So theme nights, for example, some of the themes we're going to double up and do 2 nights this year, and it's really this effort where these aren't just like one game initiatives. Like all these audiences and all these people, the people's stories we're trying to tell, like what we stand for, what we represent as an organization, really is going to be 365 days a year. Now, maybe celebrated in a bigger way on that theme night or theme nights, but in no way are we changing, and I think we're actually investing more. Now, with the jersey specifically, the NHL made that decision, but we're still gonna make the jerseys. We're still actually in the process of bringing artists in to do the jersey designs, which I think is a great way to really connect to new people, to connect to people's stories, to connect to the city and the community. And I think we'll find creative ways to highlight them where, whether it's the whole team or whether it's a player or whether it's just showing how the organization really stands. And I think people like seeing this because it shows representation and it really is a visual way to support. So I think we're going to find ways to highlight those. It may not be pregame, but we think that our efforts can make it even stronger. So long answer to your question, but no change, doubling down. We are not going to stop whatsoever in our efforts.
Long answer for a long question, and then you go right at it. I'm done talking.
I think that Pride logo last year was one of my favorite ones, and when it first came out, I think it was only on the jersey. I couldn't find it, and they just came out not too long ago, maybe a month ago. I remember getting an email about it, and I bought the sweatshirt, and I absolutely love it. everybody that I see loves it. The people that aren't even Sharks fans see it and they love it. It makes them smile, and they actually thought it was a Fin Factor sweatshirt. Unfortunately, it was not. I was like, no, it's a Sharks one. This is a legit Sharks apparel. But anyway, I went on to the store and bought it online, and this is kind of something a little bit new that we have, right? Or the Sharks have for the store.
Yeah, so
store.
SharksProShop.com is a merchandise destination that actually the Sharks run. So not a lot of people maybe totally fully understand that, but that is a Sharks product. Obviously, you see the Sharks Pro Shop signs at our physical locations, but the online location has even more than you see in the stores. And I think you highlighted, we have a whole Pride collection right now on SharksProShop.com. We're really leaning into that. Not only do we have the Pride collection, we have actually all of the artists' work from the last two years of theme nights and merchandise there, and we're only going to grow that. And I think the key thing with the store is it allows us to actually create merchandise that's exclusive to the Sharks and our fans, taking feedback from what our fans want, taking things that we do on the ice or in the community and bringing them to merchandise, because I think, like you said, people are very proud of the organization and what they do, and it's a way to show that, and really coming back to Teal together, like show the community that like this is a welcoming organization, this is a welcoming sport. But SharksProShop.com has been a great way for us to really stretch our creative muscle, put exclusive items on there, and then also service our fans like we want them to be serviced as part of our own as our own product. So definitely recommend people checking out SharksProShop.com all through the year. And again, this is another one of our strategic points is we're going to have these collection drops throughout the year, which some may be limited time, some may be limited numbers. And if you go to ProShop.com, you can register and sign up for notifications when the drops come, so you can be first in line for some of those collections. So definitely something for fans to check out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there. I don't know if you've been on there, but one of my favorite logos is the shoulder patch, the Fin shoulder patch, and I want that on a hat. And they have it in the store. I just didn't buy it yet, but I'm going to be buying it. That's probably my favorite logo. I would love, not that you have anything to do with this, but a jersey, a third jersey with just the Fin logo in the middle. I think that looks cool.
Did that. They had a jersey like that. But it was a practice. It was warm-up, something like that, where they had that big, and I'm like, Aaron's going to love this thing.
Yeah, so I did.
So that Fin's called technically the Evolve Fin.
Okay.
And if you like it, you're going to have a good year.
That one's called the Evolve Fin?
It's called the Evolve Fin because it got introduced with our last year's primary jersey set. It was called the Evolve jersey.
Okay.
And so that fin was part of that.
I also love the fin on the original, the old school jersey too.
Yes.
That logo, which
so it was an evolution of the original, hence the Evolve.
I like both. I guess.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Part of the Evolve jersey.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So the Sharks did release the first half of the promotional schedule, which you kind of hinted at something that's not on there, so that was kind of cool. But maybe you can walk us through this. I think Jason, you have the kind of the pictures up here.
So maybe a couple notes. We did the first half because we have so many giveaways this year. The most ever. Last year was the most ever. We had 12. This year we'll have at least 2 more than that, and maybe even drop some surprises during the year, which we're really excited about because I think in the last 2 years we've really tried to come up with some new items that not only resonated with longtime fans, but really things that could draw in new fans. Again, this is kind of a theme that you've heard. Like we want to be welcoming, opening, and get really this fan base going. So on the home opener we have
so cool.
a schedule apron, which is kind of unique. We've done schedule magnets, pocket schedules. We're doing this food festival on opening night, so we said, hey, festival of food. Put the schedule on there, so when you're cooking every night, you're reminded of the Sharks game you got to turn on later, or you get Sharks game you got to buy tickets for. So, and if you actually look at the artwork of the apron, we kind of had some fun with the opponent names. So that's actually. For an apron, that's actually one I'm most excited about. So I don't know what that says about me, but I think it's a pretty fun item.
You obviously do a lot of barbecuing.
Yes.
Or baking.
Then October 14th is Los Tiburones night, and so we're doing a luchador goalie mask.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Interesting. So, and that's actually to be determined or to be created. We actually have an artist who's working on that.
Oh.
So a very cool artist design on this luchador goalie mask.
So is it a plastic like Jason mask?
It's a plastic Jason-esque desk mask
yeah.
that will have the design on it, which we think that again
That's really
would
cool.
be really
Very
cool, really unique,
Yeah.
very unique. Like you gotta come to the game to get these unique items.
Yeah.
That really also like connect to the artist, connect to the theme, connect to hardcore fans of hockey, trying to bring all those things together.
Yeah.
We always hear good things about the mashups with sports teams, especially the Warriors. And we've done that a few times, so we said, what can we do different?
Yeah.
And we said, let's do a basketball jersey.
Absolutely, I love that.
And if you've seen it, I don't know
saw
if
the picture,
you can
yeah.
put it up, but
Yeah.
we got, we brought back the stealth crest.
Yeah.
With the Warriors kind of look, I mean, it's fire as the kids would
So
say. And
As
that's
the
what
kids
I'm looking
would say.
forward to. And
Oh my
actually,
God.
this theme of us taking other sports jerseys
Yeah.
and putting them kind of in the Sharks world will be a theme that you may see later when we release the second half.
There was one a while ago. I think it was a Giants one, correct?
Yeah.
A Giants jersey that was a Sharks themed Giants jersey. I guess you'd say.
Yeah. So that's kind of the direction that we're going in.
Very
Again, really trying to mash up,
Yeah.
crossover, like really the Bay Area Unite movement at its fullest.
I'm sure I'll be there, but just in case I can't, one of you is going to have to grab one of those shirts. My birthday is November 2nd, and the promotion's November 4th. So somebody's got to grab one for me if I can't make it. I'll try to be here, but I need that.
You're a friend of the
I need
organization.
that, for sure. And also, Hockey Fights Cancer is near and dear to me, so I'll be looking forward to that one as well. Now, that one, we can throw it back on the screen. I don't know, Super Producer Jason. That one, I think, was December 16th, yes.
Yeah.
Hockey Fights Cancer. So what are we doing for that one?
So-
I'm interested in that.
Yeah. So I don't know. You've seen like the roll-up banners that you roll out.
Okay.
So we've always tried to do like a moment when everyone stands and kind of like shows their support. So we're gonna have these banners that are a couple feet long,
Gotcha.
purple, so everyone in the arena can during that moment use that to show their support. So again, something new, but in the same vein of having something that allows people to have that moment.
Absolutely, very cool.
And I think we round out on December 21st with the holiday sweater jersey, which you guys are fans. You know maybe our history with the holiday sweater.
Yes.
So maybe that portends something that's going to come later in the
I'll
season.
definitely be getting one of those.
You got to get John Scott to come back and do the grandma again. Right? He was the barking like a dog when he did that. Oh my goodness, that's such a great video.
I like where you're going with that. I like where you're going with that.
Maybe another one coming down the pipeline.
I like where you're going.
Yeah.
All right.
So we had 6 giveaways for the first half. We're gonna drop the second half in probably late July. So definitely keep your eyes out for that.
Very soon.
Now, I'm not asking you to give anything away, but is there a specific month or holiday that you're doing something themed that you're very excited about for the second half of the promotions? Like a St. Patty's Day
Put 'em
or
on the
Valentine
spot.
or something like that. Is there something that you're doing on one of those days that you're specifically pumped about, even if you can't tell us?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to pick.
Okay.
I mean for me this is
Good answer.
one of the best times of year.
It's like, which your favorite kid, right?
Right. I mean these all feel like big celebrations. The giveaways people love. I mean these are kind of like what you live for when you're in marketing. So to me this is like the best time of the year when we get to release this stuff, and people generally really enjoy this. We get good feedback. It builds excitement for the season. So it is hard to pick, but I am. This probably sounds like every answer I probably give every year, but this is probably the most excited I am for a full year of giveaways, promos, themes, just because I think we're so invested in doing this, not just to sell tickets, but doing it to, again, attract new fans, create a party atmosphere, have it be something that's more than just the game, and it really feels like that's happening.
That's
Community.
It's the most you guys have ever done, ever.
Yeah, absolutely, and that goes towards the effort of entertainment, party.
So I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Super Producer Jason go through all the times we've talked with Doug here and see if he said I'm most excited about this year, and we'll just make a super
Smash
cut
it up.
of him just being super excited about that coming here. Awesome. Anything else you wanna throw out there or ask? Anything you want to plug?
So I mean, we've talked about these promotional items and theme nights before, but always when we've done that, we actually haven't been on sale with individual game tickets. This year we are. This is the first time that we're going on sale with individual game tickets at schedule release. So if someone just wants to come to one of these fun games, they can go buy a ticket today. which in the past they've had to wait to when our official on sale is in September.
Yep.
So again, we feel like these are going to be very popular. You can go to sjsharks.com/tickets, secure your ticket, know that you have your apron or your holiday sweater jersey. So
Guaranteed sellout nights right there. At least those 6.
Yes.
Right? 7.
get the tank rocking again
Yes,
with these promotions.
I think we could definitely use that. We need this tank going again for sure. So, again, Doug Bentz, CMO, Sharks, thanks again for stopping by. It's always a treat having you on, learning about all the things that are coming up for the season for us to look forward to. Even if you're only giving us half of it, he says it's the best year this time, guys.
That just means we have to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do it again.
We'll probably see you in December then. I guess. All right, good.
Exactly.
Hey, again, Doug Bentz, thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
out.
Thank you
And
for having me.
we're going to take another quick little break, and it will be short. Don't go anywhere. I see you guys leaving. Don't do it. Stay here with us, grab a little water, and come right back, and we'll continue our coverage of the draft. Right. So there you go. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See, I told you we'd be right back, and look who showed up. Damn Boyle. I have to say, by the way, you for me are like the original, other than Doug Wilson, the original Sharks offensive defenseman, right? I love watching you play the game. There was a time that I saw you do a shootout though, and I have to ask you about it. You came in and you do this weird like head thing. So can you just talk us through that one? What was that head thing about?
Well, every goalie's different.
Okay.
Some goalies will focus on the puck. Others will look at your eyes or your head. So I don't know. I talk to goalies along the way, see what they thought, try to get their opinion, and that's just misleading. If he was looking at the puck, it probably didn't matter what I did with my head. But if he was looking up in my eyes, then maybe I was able to deceive him. But I don't know. I think I was about 50% on the shootout, so I think I did okay.
I was going to say, one of the few defensemen who is consistently trusted with taking the shootout shot, so always a pleasure watching you do your thing. Aaron, why don't you go ahead and kick us off then?
Sure. You had an awesome career, obviously. You were in Tampa Bay, San Jose, and then the Rangers. Why San Jose versus those other two markets of where you, post-retirement, ended up at?
I won the cup in Tampa, so obviously that was a special place for me as well. But I was young there. I was not married. I didn't have kids then, so even when I go back, I don't know most of the people there. When I came here, I was a married man. I was a family man. My kids were born here, and I loved it here. I mean, I loved it in Tampa too, and New York and Florida were great as well. But I really felt home here, and obviously the weather, just the people, people recognize you and stuff, but 99% of the time, people are kind and nice. And the hockey, although same as in Tampa, is not necessarily a hockey town from birth, but it is now. And so very similar to Tampa. I love the fact that hockey is a priority around here. And I just love the Bay Area. I love everything about it.
So West Coast wins out.
West Coast, man. And the music. This is small, but like I'm a huge music nerd, fan, and my favorite band is from here. And
who's your favorite band?
It's Mark Smith's band, right?
Screaming Tree, or no, what do they call them? Vinyl Trees. No, Faith No More. They're a San Francisco band. There's obviously 2-3 shows a month that I'm going to be at, and no bands miss the Bay Area. So.
That's awesome.
Very cool. And I looked up your, I guess, what do you call it? Not IMDb, but like the elite prospects.
Okay.
Right. So
database.
The thing that got me was the first thing that I noticed on there was you were with the Kentucky Thoroughblades.
Yes.
That I didn't even know that. So I thought you had started your career with the Florida Panthers, but you were actually playing in Kentucky first.
There's a story there.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me that.
So everyone knows I was undrafted.
Yes.
Go to the Florida camp. Their minor league team is in New Haven, Connecticut. So they send 93% of their prospects to New Haven, and then they had a deal with Lexington, which was San Jose's farm team, where they got to lend 4 players. So we called ourselves the Rejects. There was 4 of us. We got sent to Lexington, and that's where I met Mark Smith, Nabokov, Matt Bradley. A lot of the guys ended up playing for the Sharks. I was just kind of like a Florida prospect, and the scary thought was, man, I'm going to another team. They're not gonna want to play their own guys ahead of me. And I believe it was Roy's first year. And thank God for Roy and Nick Patiu. They didn't care what organization I was affiliated with. They played me a ton.
Yeah.
And I was gone halfway through the season. I got the call up. But if it wasn't for Kentucky, I may not have been with the Sharks, later on, because those guys got to know me there, even though I was Florida property.
I was gonna say it was meant to be.
It was one of those. It was one of those things that kind of came full circle.
That is so cool, because again, that's something I didn't know about prior to, and I'm glad I looked that up just to double check. And as you had mentioned, you went undrafted, and I'm hoping to kind of get your thoughts, the emotion that some of the expected late round picks. What they're feeling. A guy that maybe is supposed to be going in that 6th round but hasn't heard his name yet.
Yeah.
What's the emotion that these guys are going through?
Well, I wouldn't know because I didn't get drafted.
That's what I mean, though. So if they're I'm supposed to go in the 6th, I haven't heard my name yet, right? So
I would assume. I would only assume that if you're highly rated and you're not going, it's got to be pretty tough. I think the later the rounds go, there's a gem every now and again. You'll find a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder. Never give up, obviously, but after the first few rounds, the percentages of making a team become slimmer and slimmer. So at that point, it's just a matter of taking your own hands, whether you're a 5th rounder or undrafted like me.
Yeah.
You got to take advantage of the opportunity, and your opportunity, the leash will be shorter. A first rounder is going to get every opportunity to make the team.
Yeah.
A 5th rounder, 7th rounder, or no draft rounder is going to get a very limited opportunity. So you just have to make the best of it, or else you're going to end up on the couch.
So I want you to put your scouting hat on for a second, and what are the intangibles? Like, how does a room full of experts miss on, future Stanley Cup champion and Olympic gold medalist Dan Boyle? What intangibles are they missing?
Well, I think it's different now. I mean, you see guys under 6 feet that are getting drafted left, right, center, and defensemen especially. Back then, they were so focused on size. 1998 was my first year, so I don't even know what my draft year would have been. They were so focused on size.
Yeah.
I was playing college hockey in Miami, Ohio. I always feel bad when I say this because it makes me sound conceited, but I was probably the best defenseman in college hockey, or one of. I was a Hobie Baker finalist, and I couldn't get drafted. I wouldn't expect to get drafted in the first or second round, but how I couldn't get drafted, and then there were 10 or 11 rounds, that blew my mind. But it was, for me back then, it was all about size. Now they're seeing to letting size not be a factor as much. Obviously, Bedard, looks like he's 5'9", 150 pounds. He's going to gain some weight, and I'm sure he's going to get stronger. But size is not as much a factor now as it was back then, because thankfully for us small guys that have done well the last 15, 20 years, we've paved the way for some of these younger, smaller guys now.
Do you think your career trajectory would have changed had you been drafted? Like, let's say you got drafted in one of the last couple of rounds?
Well, who knows? I mean, I got to kind of pick. I shouldn't even say that. Florida was the only team that offered me a contract. So I was going to say I got to pick where I wanted to go. That's not true.
Yeah.
I got to go to a team that was I got an opportunity, and it took a long. Like I said, I was a reject. I got sent to Lexington, so I wasn't even on the radar. But
you were constantly proving yourself.
I had a chip. I still have a chip on my shoulder today when I'm on the golf course. So I've had it forever. I think it allowed me to be where I am
Would
today.
you still have that chip if you got
I think I would, because that's the way I am.
Yeah.
I played over 1,000 games. I was never once satisfied.
Yeah.
Never once. I would watch film when I got home, DVD, DVR, tapes back then. I was never satisfied. So I don't know that it would have mattered too much. I still would have been working my butt off.
Draft day here, they just drafted Will Smith. Do you know anything about any of these? No, you just...
No, I don't know anything about him. I've been on both sides, not with the media. With the media, I think 75% of the media will just tag along to what a few of the main guys are saying. They've never even seen these kids play. But the trusted few that I know have seen him play sounds like, he's a very good prospect, and obviously you never know. But he's going to get every opportunity to make this team, and if not right away, within a couple years, and hopefully they got the right guy.
If you were to give any of these draftees any advice, obviously, you had a great career, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't even get drafted. You had a great career.
Yeah.
So these guys that are getting these opportunities, if you could give them some piece of advice, what might that be?
I don't know that it's something that that fire. Keep that fire alive. Never. I mean, I just talked about it. Don't be satisfied. Whatever it is, whether you're getting X amount of minutes, whether you're getting second power play time, or whatever it is, ask for more. You want more ice time. You want more power play time. Ask for more. Never be satisfied. And that would be my one advice. Don't be content.
Yeah. Post-retirement, anything? What?
No, go ahead.
Any interest in working in the front office here or with the organization at all?
I've been asked to do TV for a little while, and I did a couple, but the studio's in San Francisco. That just doesn't appeal to me. Yeah. Although I did enjoy it. I love Brody, and I love the camaraderie there. I like the idea of not the coaching and stuff. That's too much for me. Too much I don't think that's the path that I would go. I like the idea of putting a team together, but you don't just become a GM overnight or an assistant GM. You got to put in your time. My kids are too young still. I like being at home, so maybe in the distant future, not too distant, but right now I'm just happy being a dad at home, coming into a few games and doing stuff for the alumni. We do Sharks events and golf events and bocce ball events, and that keeps me happy and busy.
So we'll see you around, but not.
I'm around.
Yeah.
I'm around. You'll see me at concerts. You'll see me at golf courses, and I'll come to there's 8 or 10 games or so a year.
Nice.
So I'm a Bay Area probably for life at this point, and but yeah, I like the idea of putting a team together. I just don't think that. I think you got to put in the time. And that's not time I want to put in
yet.
not right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned the kids are young. Do the kids play?
No, they're 2 girls. They're 12 and 14. My oldest is getting into field hockey, which I'm completely new to. So I don't even know the rules, so I'm going to get to learn. And then my youngest is into volleyball. So neither of them ever got into hockey, but I like the fact that they're both focused on something. I think there's a lot to be learned in sports, whether you become a professional or not. I think there are good life lessons with being on a team.
Awesome. I have to say, I don't get starstruck easily, and honestly, like you were like one of my favorite players of all time for the Sharks.
And I'm not lying. I used to read the articles on field.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
used to because I'll be honest. 90's a little hard. A lot of these internet websites are poo-pooey. They're people have no idea what you're talking about. But I thought you guys did a good job back in the day. I can't speak for the last 10 years. I haven't read in the last 10 years. But when I was playing, I used to read it. I thought you guys did a good job. And so I don't know. I'm not. Back then, anyways. I don't know. Maybe you guys are losing it now. But back then, I thought you guys were one of the good ones.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Again, one of my favorite players of all time for the Sharks. Again, for me, the first real offensive defenseman, save Doug Wilson. And I'm just so happy to have you on here. Thank you so much for spending your time. We'll go ahead and let you go. Get back to the festivities. Wait. Have you ridden the Shark yet? The mechanical
I
shark?
got here. I did an interview, and I came up
Okay.
with ridden.
There's a
I see
mechanical
it.
shark. Yeah.
I see it.
If you decide to do it, flag us down. I want to record you. Okay.
I might have to have a couple
Hannan
of-
said he's going to do it. Right?
Oh, Jesus. All right, I'm gonna go check it
good.
out first.
Sign
Again,
the
guys.
waiver right now.
What's that?
He's gonna go sign the waiver right now.
Again, guys, Dan Boyle, again, thank you so much for being here. We're going to take another short little break and we'll be right back. But, this is just, I'm good. We can cut off the show
False
right here. I'd be
fanboy
good.
right now.
I'm good. So, we'll be right back.
I actually did read.
And as you can see, nothing has changed on set whatsoever, other than Grandma's back.
I think you need to turn around this segment the whole time.
You know,
Just face
I'll
that
do
way.
this right now. I don't know if you can see if I'm. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There it is. Noah Gregor.
No,
There you go.
10 goal scorer.
10 goal scorer. Yeah.
Elite
10 goal scorer. Where he gets 5 goals in the last 9 games. What's with the hearts? Knock it off, Sir Producer Jason.
I think a lot of our fans were cheering so loudly when he scored that 10th goal.
I think so. I think they were. I was not one of them.
That was the best moment of the year for me.
Yes. See? In a year that did not have many ups, other than Carlson getting 101 points, Gregor getting 10 goals was amazing.
I think, though, the prospect of having a jersey purchased for you or a pie in the face, I feel like I still won.
Again,
I still won.
I'm a nice guy.
You are a nice guy. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. And it's comfy.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
good.
Appreciate
It's
that.
clean.
It actually is.
I don't think I've seen this jersey up close. Like, I've only seen it
Really?
on the ice.
Okay,
Not
well-
like up close. It's very nice.
So
What's with the NHL crest? It's like way up on the.
Yeah.
Where
up
is
here,
it?
Up here.
Oh yeah, it's way high.
It
It should be down
like
here.
Down in the middle, yeah.
Maybe because you have
It's probably
a
Fanatics.
polo
Did you
shirt
get me a
on.
Fanatics jersey?
I did not.
Come clean right now.
I did not. It's Adidas.
Okay.
Because I purposely did not get Fanatics. I don't want to talk too much smack about Fanatics. And
Yeah,
I almost
you
did
do.
with Doug Bentz earlier.
Yeah.
But I think he alluded to the fact that the Shark store sells other things.
I'm not rubbing my mic, am I? Okay, good. Yeah, thank you, Super Producer Jason, for confirming the mic's not being rubbed, for the hearts on the screen. And I saw the confetti. You thought I didn't notice. I saw the confetti. There it is. Okay, and then making it rain. Okay. Hey, again, we're back, sort of. So we're essentially in a holding pattern now, waiting for the 24th pick, which is the Sharks' last pick in the first round.
Yeah.
26.
26?
26.
My bad, 26. You can see they're going to trade up to the 24th. That's what I'm seeing in the future. No, 26th overall pick. And that's coming a little bit later on. I think Detroit just made their 17th overall. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we've got a little ways to go still. We've got a few topics to kind of bring up and just chat about, and hopefully this comes sooner than later. Detroit, by the way, they were talking, so they made their first pick, whichever number that was, and then he was up there talking, thanking this guy and saying this and blah, 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 whatever, and then they made the pick. And then for their 17th, he gets up there and he starts talking again. It's like, no, you already said this. You already thanked everybody. What are we doing?
Should just go
Just
up there
make
and
the
say
pick.
Do what Patrick Marleau did.
Yeah, just go up, say a name, and go away. That's all you have to do. We have Laura Birmingham saying, hi, hope you guys are
hi,
having
Laura.
fun. What a cool opportunity. Hey, I know, honestly, this has been so much fun. Being able to have Graham here with us, specifically during a draft party where this is wheelhouse. He knows prospects. So being able to get his insights on these guys has been just a really great opportunity for us to be here during the draft, to get Doug Bentz, to get Dan Boyle was awesome getting him in here.
Still high on that.
Boiler, I love it, buddy. And then of course Scott Hannan, friend of the show. So it's been a great experience so far.
How about we do a roll call right now?
Sure.
To kind of fill in some
We
time
said we
here.
were going
Tell
to
us-
do multiple. So.
Right. So tell us where you're watching from, and
Should the Sharks take the goaltender with 26th overall if he's available? Do you
Okay,
think
sure.
they ought to do that? Should they take the goalie with the 26th? Is that the
I
next
wouldn't
thing
hate
the
that.
Sharks need? And we'll talk to him in just a second, but we want to see your opinions. Do you think the Sharks ought to go get a goaltender who's a guy good enough to be going in the first round?
Sure. Okay.
Is that fair? I think it's fair. What's your take on that? What are you thinking? The Sharks clearly need goaltending, so
Yeah, I mean, I generally believe in drafting goalies higher than they get drafted, because I think there's this popular belief that goaltending is like voodoo or whatever you want to call it. It's hit or miss. You could have a guy go completely undrafted. There's lots of undrafted of any position. There's more undrafted goalies in the NHL than any other position. I mean, on a per position basis, right? There's only 32 starters. There's only 64 goalies in the league. There's way more forwards and defensemen, obviously. But proportionally speaking, there's way more undrafted goalies, just because their development is weird, and
Very
NHL,
different, yeah.
even NHL teams haven't figured it out yet. And so I generally believe that it's worth the risk to take a swing on a goalie late in the first round. If there's a guy that you really like, back in 2017, I believe, Dallas traded up in the draft to select Jake Ottinger. and he was 5th in Vezina voting trophy. The Vezina voting, he was 5th.
Yeah.
As a rookie goaltender, right? He's going to have a really long career as one of the better goalies in the league. That's a team that saw their guy and they knew how good he was going to be, and they made their move. So I think the Sharks could do something similar. I mean, they wouldn't necessarily have to trade up. They could just take Augustine at 26, and you never know. You might have your starting goaltender for a long time.
There were a lot of fans I remember that wanted Wallstedt drafted when that was
for
2
me,
years ago now?
for me that would have been too high. That's when they traded down, right? They had 11.
Yeah.
That to me is a bit too high to draft a goalie. I mean, Wallstedt's kind of a different case because he's like so good. Plus, he was a European goalie playing in the SHL, a pro league. Those goalies that do well in their draft season in a pro league like that, usually those guys are safe bets. Outside of that, it's more hit or miss. So that's a guy maybe I would have considered drafting 11th overall if they didn't trade down there, but
In that draft, looking back on that draft, it's kind of been a weaker draft class than.
it's definitely a weaker class for sure, yeah.
So that would be a good time to have drafted him.
Yeah. I still like moving down there.
Yeah.
I like the move that they made.
And that was the year they got Byston last year, right?
Oh, you know what? Hang on a minute. I think we might be crossing things up here.
One other one.
I think this was 2020. They moved
Okay.
down last year.
They did move down
Yeah,
last
so this
year.
was not. So this was the year they drafted Eklund then. I believe 2020, right?
Between
That was-
Eklund and Wallstedt,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would take
So-
Eklund over
Yeah.
Wallstedt. You wouldn't?
Oh.
I mean, looking back on it,
At that time?
at the time, yes, I definitely would have taken Eklund over Wallstedt. Looking back, maybe I'd rather have Wallstedt.
Hindsight's hard.
I
in
mean,
the draft.
Eklund is still going to be good.
Yes.
So I mean, you don't have to be that concerned. Like he's
Right,
he's not a bust.
Yeah.
But realistically, he's probably like a second line, 60 to 70 point guy.
Yeah.
Maybe like 20 goals. He's not going to score a ton of goals.
I just remember when they picked him, Doug Wilson Jr. was saying, "I can't believe you fell to us at 7."
Neither could I.
Right? But as you're saying now, does it make more sense now that he may have been picked at 7 as opposed to maybe getting a little bit earlier off the board?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Just because development, I mean, the draft is, you can only work with the information you have available to you at the time, right? So maybe there were some things that other teams drafting ahead of the Sharks saw that specifically concerned them with Eklund, but knowing everything, you can't know for sure how a player's going to develop. Doing that draft again, I would have taken Eklund again. In hindsight, obviously things are different, but you can only work with the information you have at the time.
Speaking of Eklund, actually, there was some talk about training camp coming up, and some of the guys that are coming back from injury. And I know you've got information on a couple of these. So Eklund being one, obviously, but then Ohojchuk, who was one of the defensemen that we got in the Timo Meier trade. That's a big one, I think, to have him coming back in. I think he's going to be a little more promising than people thought. I know Madulin was kind of like the big part of that trade. He just made a face, so we'll see. Before we get to that, Luke Cunnin is supposed to be coming back as well, ready for training camp.
Yep.
I think Greer said that he looked like he was ready to go like now. Like
He was already starting his workouts, I think.
by
at
the end of the season. Yeah. So it looks like he might be ready to come back and get in
He
the
should
fold.
be definitely in shape for training.
And then Maki Niemi, I think, was the other one. They're saying he looks like he's ready to rock again as well. And they're very high on him. So I don't know how high, though. Again, he's a goaltender, right? We're just talking about goalies that the Sharks need some better prospects. And
I think right now it's kind of the shotgun method for them on goaltending.
just everybody.
Yeah, Magnus Krona is another one that a big guy who also, I completely forgot, he was coached by Dan Quinn. He coached him at the college level, right? Before he was hired as the Sharks coach. So he has experience with kind of everybody in the organization and other, so
I want to address this real quick. Kellen saying he wants to know whom from the Fin Factor team is jumping on the mechanical animal down in the arena. First of all, it's a mechanical shark for sure. And second, definitely not me. Definitely not me.
Really?
Absolutely not.
No.
Oh, Super Producer Jason's got his hand in the air.
Yeah.
He's doing it. Are you serious? You can do it?
We'll record you.
Sweet. He's going to do
There's
it.
a lot of padding around there. It's fine.
So, yeah,
you won't get hurt.
there's some very young people on the Shark, so I think Super Dish Jason will be okay.
That'd be fun.
Maybe they turn it up a little bit when it's an adult. I don't know. But,
I think they do. We've seen some adults get thrown off of there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? I didn't see anybody.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, they're having a ball back out here, guys. It's again, if you couldn't make it out, it's too bad.
It's pretty cool, and I hope they might do this again next year.
I feel like they should, and I feel like they will.
I think they will because I think the Sharks will have a high draft pick again next year.
You never have they announced where the draft is going to be next year?
I don't.
Usually they announce it at the draft, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could see them hosting the draft here, potentially.
You think so?
I mean, you never know. It's been a long time since
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever hosted.
Did we not host when they first came into the league?
I don't think so.
Really?
I'm assuming they hosted. I mean, I wasn't even born yet, but I'm assuming they hosted the draft one of those years because it's like all the other expansion teams normally host the draft when they
I
first
honestly,
come in the league.
maybe someone could fact check this on here, but I'm pretty sure that they have not hosted. Plus,
But the
this is
Sharks
now-
aren't going to be good for a while, so it would
Right.
be a good. It would be a good time for them to say, "Hey, let's host a draft in San
Plus
Jose."
a high-end draft pick for themselves with the fans that will fill it. Yeah, that'd be great.
Don't let Paul get out of it. Hey, Adam, I was never in it, buddy. I was never in it. Lucky Frog, that's Adam.
Yeah.
I know who you are. I would assume all three. No, you assume incorrectly. You know what happens when you assume?
All right, stop that. There.
Just saying. That's what happens. Jason. Everybody wants Jason. Everyone likes Super Dish Jason. He's going to get on it already. He's throwing his hands in the air. He's saying it's happening. Thinks the Sharks are looking at that Ben Goodrow goal. Yeah, I thought Ben Goodrow was going to be a promising guy, and maybe they did too, obviously, but it just didn't pan out.
Yeah, he's the one that wanted to go back into the draft.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I was pretty high on Goodrow when they drafted him,
yeah.
but the thing with Canadian goaltenders coming out of any of the CHL leagues, it's hit or miss. Like, Canada does not have a very good track record of drafting goalies recently. That's why, like, if I'm drafting goalies, I'm generally kind of want to do like Swedish goalies or European goalies in general. Like Russia has produced a lot of really quality goaltenders. Sweden, even the United States, like Jake Ottinger is really good. Trey Augustine, potentially could be part of that conversation in the future. So I personally don't love drafting CHL goalies in general, but it is what it is. You don't hit with every pick.
Man, are you like really killer at NHL on EA Sports? NHL?
No, I am terrible.
Drafting in
GM mode, yeah.
GM mode,
yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like playing. We used to play online. We had a league too, like with Fin Factor fans, and I haven't bought it in like 3 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
I am average at best online. I am not very good. Paul's maybe slightly better than me.
I'm decent. It's
Yeah.
usually the guys I'm playing with. So when I'm playing with you, I'm horrible. But when I'm playing with other guys, it's
we
I'm
have
better.
players that are much better than us, and they carry our team.
Peter St. John, yes, thank you so much, buddy. This says the jersey really suits you.
I make him look good.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. Getting back to I think the guys that are going to be available and ready to go this season. I like Luke Cunningham coming back. I liked his energy. I like what he brought, and I think he was exactly the type of player that Greer likes, and the type of player that other teams would like when they're looking for that playoff push, that depth guy. So if it doesn't work out with Luke coming back and wanting to stay with the Sharks, and we're a terrible team, and we're sending guys away to get draft picks back, I think he's going to be again one of those guys that's a trade target. And if he can stay healthy and get through this season and show that he still got it, I think that's just another asset coming back for the Sharks for future, is that it's going to work out well for them.
He was a tenacious guy that stood in front of the net and got a lot of garbage goals. We had the whole garbage collector.
That's right. We had the garbage collector slide. And then Ahoychuk. So I'd like to get your feedback on Ahoychuk. Now you made a face earlier.
Yeah.
Why'd you make the face?
I mean, he's a guy,
He's the guy.
He's a guy. He's big, mean.
Hits hard, right?
Yeah, he's physical. Like, there's no puck skills whatsoever with him. In transition, like, he's not a great skater. I don't think there's much upside there in transition. Like, defensively, like, I don't know. I don't know that I see an NHL player there, to be honest.
Okay.
Maybe he's like a number 7 guy, but not really part of I was not a fan of the Timo Meier trade. I was a proponent of trading him. But the return that they got, we all saw how Zetterlund played with the Sharks.
Yeah.
He, analytically speaking, he was the worst player on the team, literally, including Noah Gregor. Yeah, he was much worse than Noah Gregor.
Well, then, and Andreas Janssen is not even a throw-in
Janssen
player.
was just a cap down.
Yeah, but he's not even with the Sharks anymore now, right?
Arkodiuk, like I said, I don't really see an NHL level player there. Mukama Doolin, maybe. He's definitely, the upside is there.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of Brent Burns. He's right-handed and he's got a really good shot. So really powerful shot. He scores more just by like brute force, one-timers, really hard shots than with finesse, which is kind of the Brent Burns style. But he's really wiry. He's not like a tank like Burns is. He's tall, but he doesn't have the same physicality. He's very lanky, kind of an awkward skater, effective, but kind of awkward defensively. He's a work in progress. He's very raw. Like, the upside is there, but there's a good chance he doesn't play in the NHL like more than 100 games in the NHL. There's also a good chance, there's a chance that he also becomes like our number one offensive defenseman.
That's such a big range.
Well, it's kind of either one or the other.
Yeah.
He's a boom or bust kind of guy. He's not a guy that I see who's going to come in and have like a decent 600, 800 game career and just kind of be okay.
Yeah.
He's probably going to either come up and struggle and be bad and then go to Europe, or he's going to be really good. Personally, I'm not that optimistic with him either. There's definitely a chance, but there's a good chance that neither of those guys work out. So it's going to be down to the picks for like looking back on that trade. If they're going to salvage that trade at all, it's going to be, I think there's a good chance it'll be based off how those picks turn out.
So, they traded for Mackenzie Blackwood, right? They only gave up a 6 to get him. I like that trade. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Does that speak to maybe a confidence level that's maybe lacking in Makiniemi, or at least right now?
I think I'm guessing that the plan is to not have Makiniemi play in the NHL next year. He might get a game or two if there's injuries. In fact, he got a game last year, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think they want to keep him in the AHL for a little while. He's still pretty young for a goaltender. I believe he's 23. He might be 24, but either way, goalies usually start really cracking into the league at like 25, 26. So there's definitely hope there. He's a decent prospect. Again, I don't really do goalies that much, and he was injured for a lot of the year, so I didn't really see him that much. But in Carolina's system, he had good numbers, so you never know. He could be, I'm guessing he's probably not going to be more than a backup, but he could be a solid NHL backup level goaltender.
What else do you want to talk about here?
I will say really quick, Chicago just picked Oliver Moore
there you go.
with the 19th pick. He was the guy I was watching for the Sharks pick at 26. He was the guy that was very obviously dropping, in my opinion. I was hoping that he would continue to drop to 26, but man, Bedard and Moore in the same draft, that is a clean piece of work for Chicago. I'm very sad to say that.
Which is interesting because you had more. I mean, you wanted more above Smith, and Smith went at 4, so Moore could have gone even at 4.
Yeah, we could have picked him at 4. Yeah. I mean, part of that is you scout like the other teams. You want to get a good idea what the other teams think of players. So obviously nobody was really high on him. He went 19th. So it's probably a good thing the Sharks didn't take him at 4 because they had chances. Like they could have moved up potentially, or maybe they would have got lucky and he would have fallen to 26. But it's Will Smith is definitely the safer pick between the two. But Oliver Moore is he's so electric on skates. Definitely at this point where he was drafted, one of the higher upside bets of the draft, but he's going to play too. Like, he's not a boomer bust kind of guy. Like, if he gets stuck in a bottom 6 role, like, I doubt that's going to happen, but he can work out in a bottom 6 role. So not a super lot of risk with him. So Chicago just got, and I think Chicago just got their first line center and their second line center of the future. So would have been nice, but
So
I had him at 5 on my board.
franchise pieces to replace Kane and Taves in one draft.
Yep, but potentially. I think there's a good chance.
Yeah, great.
I'm really high on Oliver Moore.
I love when teams put it together that aren't the Sharks.
So I don't know if you have all the guys that have been drafted thus far, and you can see who's left. I know you had your own kind of board for yourself there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay, so Seattle took Edward Shala at 20.
Okay. So we got only 6 picks left. So of the guys that are left, is there a certain one that you're saying that's the guy I would love to see the Sharks take?
Well, the problem with that is I'm not entirely certain who is left.
Okay.
Because they haven't even been showing us every pick here in arena. They keep skipping to the in arena stuff that's here in San Jose.
I see.
So they're not showing us every pick. So I don't know who's still available. But
We'll let you get on one of the sites. So you
I
see
believe the highest ranked player I have that is still available would be Jaden Perron.
Okay.
He's a forward, played for the Chicago Steel in the USHL this year. He's small. I believe he's 5'8". He might be listed at 5'9", like 165 pounds, something like that. But he's doesn't really have traditional small player problems. He's a pretty good skater, but he's very, very smart. Has a lot of pro habits already, really good scanning habits. He knows where the other players are on the ice. He knows like when he needs to be a little bit more careful, when he could be a little bit more aggressive, knows when pressure's coming and he's going to maybe take a hit, and he can, do something about that beforehand, because obviously when you're a small player like that, getting hit by NHL level players might be a problem. But I'm not super worried about it. There's a lot of really small players in this draft in general. Perron, I think, is the best one. I have him at 11 on my board.
Wow.
I'm not the highest person I know on him. One of my colleagues, I believe, Hadi Kalikesh at DobberProspects, he's even higher on him than I am. He had him at like 6 or 7 on his board. He's really skilled. He's really smart. He's going to be a top 6 player in the NHL, I think. And I think the reason why he's falling is the perceived risk because of his size, but
is that the only risk, just that he's small?
I mean, his skating is like average, which usually isn't great for a smaller player, but it's not like he's a below average skater. Like, he projects as an NHL average skater. That might scare some teams specifically because of the size, but other than that, I don't really know what people are super concerned about with him.
I want to get your reaction to this. I can't read this.
That person is smart.
Ratatouille? I don't know who the name is. Sorry, but Gavin Brindley.
Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Ratatouille. Sure. Whatever. I'm sorry, I can't read your YouTube name. But Gavin Brindley. So, do you agree with this? First of all, and
yes.
then would you be happy with the Sharks taking this player?
Yeah, this person is very smart.
Oh.
Obviously, Gavin Brindley.
See, hold on a second. See, he picked up his phone. I'm sure he's logged in as Ratatouille over here, and he's just typing it in.
I just got Google open. Okay, let's see. I have him at 12. He's right behind Perron.
There you go. Wow.
Another short king. He's like 5'9", but he's a really hard worker. He was a bit of a late riser because he plays for Michigan. And at the beginning of the year, he was centering his own line. So he was playing center. And throughout the course of the season, Michigan started dealing with injuries. So they put him on the wing on the line with Fantilli. And he kind of took off a little bit production-wise. So I think he got a lot more eyes on him at that point. Some people are going to credit Fantilli. They're going to say, oh, well, he's playing with Fantilli, so obviously he's going to play better. Honestly, I think Brindley was a huge part of why that line worked. He's really strong on the forecheck, really smart, hard worker, tenacious, and really good vision, really good passer. So, yeah, if the Sharks get him at 26, that would be fantastic as well. I think he could probably play center in the NHL as well. Despite the size and the fact that he's been playing on the wing for the second half of the year. Yeah. But either way, I think Brindley or Perron, like, those guys are both slam dunks for me.
Yeah.
But the real question is, how far are they going to fall? because they might be available. Both of those guys might be available with their first pick tomorrow. So they might be able to pass on those guys at 26 and still get them.
Charlie Stramel just got picked.
Try to what?
Charlie Stramel just
who
got
was?
picked by
That's
Minnesota.
a bad pick.
Yeah.
Oh, Minnesota.
I don't
okay.
like Charlie Stramel.
No.
He's very safe. It's a very, very safe pick, but like fourth liner, probably.
Fourth liner?
Yeah. I mean,
Penalty killer?
good fourth liners are. That's an underrated asset.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like having a really good fourth line is important, but you know.
You can get a fourth
But
liner in the
you
second
can
round.
sign one. You don't need to
Yeah,
draft
you
one.
can sign what you can get those guys out
can
of
trade one,
You don't even have to sign NHL free agents. You can get CHL free agents. Like the Sharks, they brought in I forgot his name, but they brought in a CHL agent, free agent last year, or it might have been at some point this year. Who I believe he was on the same team as Brandon Coe. I forget his name, but that's a guy who's probably going to play in like a fourth line role. But you don't have to spend a first round draft pick on that kind of player, you know. I mean, I guess they're higher on him than I am. They probably think there's a little bit of offensive upside this year. I don't see it.
Well, and I think what you said about Brindley is you say he's the hard worker, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's, when you take a look at the guys that Greer likes, you know, they're hardworking type. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's the type of player that he is, that they may go after him at 26.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all if Gavin Brindley was the pick.
Very cool.
It'll be a win. We're 5 picks away now.
Well, we're 5 picks, because that was 21?
That's 21.
We are approaching, so we're getting close. So, let's see. Is there anybody other than the two defensemen? Would you go with the defenseman or any at this point, or are we just looking at forwards only?
So among defensemen, my top 3 defensemen have all been drafted already. That was Dmitry Simashev,
Okay.
Axel Sandin Pellikka, who Detroit took, and David Reinbacher. After that, my next highest defenseman is Mikhail Gulyayev. Small guy, really good skater, offensive-minded defenseman. There's a lot of upside there. I think his offensive game does still need a little bit more refinement. He kind of plays around the perimeter a little bit too much. I have him ranked at 21, though, so he wouldn't be a bad pick. I think there's better players available, like Gavin Brindley.
Right.
But if they really want a defenseman, Gulyayev would be a decent pick there. I mean, they need offensively minded guys in their pool. The defensemen in general they need in their pool. Tom Willander was already drafted. I had him at 25. Luca Cagnoni is a guy who's still available. He's probably not going to be drafted today. Another small guy. He's 5'10", but really creative. Really smooth edge work. He can deke guys, break ankles. A lot of offensive upside there as well. Good shot for a defenseman. Scored around a point per game in the WHL this year, which is, I would say at this point, the WHL is probably the most defensively oriented league in Canada. You got the WHL, the Ontario League, and the Quebec League. I would say the WHL is like the hardest league to score in, not by a ton, but it's definitely the hardest league to score in my opinion. He scored around a point per game as a defenseman. That's pretty good. After that, there aren't really any other defensemen I would consider at 26.
There's a much larger batch of forwards that would be more worthwhile taking than any of the
there's a lot of
defensemen that are left.
forwards. Just because the guys that have gone undrafted so far, like Braun, Brindley, Andrew Crystal is another guy. Bigger concerns with Crystal. I have him at 13. He's not a good skater. He's also on the smaller side. He's around 5'10", 170, I believe. And he's not a good skater, which does worry me a little bit. At one point in the year, I had him at like 6. So to be at 13, he's fallen a decent bit for me. Some of the routes he takes in the offensive zone kind of worry me because he's not big and he's not a good skater. Like, he can't just deke around guys super easily, and some of the routes he takes in the offensive zone especially kind of put him in danger, or at least will put him in danger if he's playing against meaner, bigger opponents. But at 26, like, that's another guy I'd be willing to bet on. Another, like, those 3 guys, I would say Perron, Brindley, Crystal. Those are probably the 3 highest upside players left. I'm not sure if Quentin Musty has been drafted or not. If I had to guess, I would say he's one of the picks that I missed. I'm assuming he's off the board.
And going back to what Greer said yesterday, he said he's going to take the best player available, regardless of position.
Yeah, in
So-
my opinion, the best player available is Jaden Perron.
Yeah, I think they'll probably go with the forward. I don't think they'd be going with.
I'm guessing it'll be Brindley if he's still available.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
So there's, what we say, 5 picks left?
So the Sharks, yeah.
So then
more in
four
between.
picks that, okay, so in the next 4 picks, there's 2 guys that you'd be really happy didn't get picked in those 4. So
There's a
Perron
good
and Brindley.
chance.
One of those guys is going to be available at least. There's no way both of them are getting picked right now.
There's no way both will be available, you're saying?
No,
No,
be
no.
picked right now.
At least one of them will be available.
Will be.
Probably both of them.
All right, so we're going to have to keep our eye on those players as well and see when the Sharks get to number 26 here. Again, we're here at the SAP Center just doing the whole draft party thing that's going on behind us here. So if you guys have been with us the entire time, thank you so much for being here with us. We know it's a very long stream. I can't imagine someone trying to listen to the podcast in 3 hours long. But you know what? Hey,
We'll cut it.
we're going to cut it down apparently, says Super Producer Jason. But yeah, really enjoying the time here so far. But see, I don't know what we're really going to...
Fill it in with right now. We can take some questions.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a good idea.
Musty is
Musty
available.
is still available. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's 3 guys then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lot lower on him than those other guys. I have him at, well, I mean, I have him at 16.
Yeah.
But definitely a bit more of a definitely safer than Perron or Brindley. Bigger guy, really good finisher, really good shot. That's actually really surprising that he's still available, to be honest. He seems like the quintessential guy. He's got size, skill, skates decently. Like, he seems like the quintessential guy that a GM would be taking at this point. But what do I know?
All right. Well, I mean, it's good to know at least that there are some prospects that can
Good
go this, because
talent.
usually in a draft, once you get into the later part of the round, it's like you're taking a guy that, like you said, you know, he's probably going to be a 4th liner, right?
Charlie
But in this
Stramel,
draft, it's a lot deeper. So hopefully the Sharks still have a good opportunity to pick someone up that's going to work out for them. Looking spiffy. Yes, I am. I'm quite spiffy, actually.
Is this? You think this draft will compare to the 2017 draft in terms of depth, or not depth, but
I'd have
talent-wise?
to look at the 2017 draft off the top of my head, to be honest. It's a good draft, though.
That was
I'm
one of the
really
best
high
ones.
on this draft.
Yeah.
I think there's like 45, 50 players that are legitimate first-round talents in this draft.
Wow, that's a lot.
Kellen's asking, any thoughts on where Reimer and Kakkonen will go if traded? So Reimer's already not going to be re-signing with the Sharks. There's no trade that's happening there.
He's
Where
a
will he
UFA.
go? I don't know, to be honest. Kakkonen, again, there was some talk about Pittsburgh wanting Kakkonen, going to be trading away. It was Jeff Petrie. Again, 35-year-old defenseman, kind of on the decline, getting paid a lot of money. There would have to be something obviously coming back from Pittsburgh to San Jose to be able to take Petrie's contract on for the last year of it and then send Kakkonen the other way. Personally, I'd be okay with that, depending on what the return is, obviously, but I'm not like married to the idea that Kakkonen is necessarily our going forward de facto goaltender.
I don't know. He's shown some promise. I still think it's early to give up completely.
Can I say something that's going to be like a really hot take with Sharks fans?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Maybe look into replacing the goalie coach.
That one stings. It stings. Sharks Nation is
Look
hurt
at our
right now.
goaltending since Nabokov has come in.
Yeah.
I know he hasn't been here that long, but our goaltending has been like bad. Regardless of who it's been. Like Kakkonen, bad. Reimer was good last year, kind of, but
Martin Jones
bad.
got bad.
Martin Jones got
Yeah.
bad. Aiden Hill, when he was with us, like, not great. I know he got injured, but small sample size. But
Yeah.
and look at the guys in the AHL too. Like the AHL guys haven't been putting up good numbers the last couple of years. I'm not impressed. Part of that is drafting, but it's also development. Especially with goalies, development is really important.
Yeah.
And like the most highly touted goaltender prospect that they've drafted in the last 10 years was Ben Gaudreau.
And
he's
went
back.
back.
He's going back into the draft.
Yeah.
I think that tells you a lot about what our goalie development is going like right now.
And that's a fair point to make. I think most of Sharks fans don't like that idea just because there's name recognition there. But if there wasn't that name recognition, if it was anybody else, I mean, hell, even Moose, right?
There's nothing wrong with bumping him up into the front office and taking him away from coaching responsibilities and then bringing in a coach. Then he's still in the organization, which everyone loves.
Would want, everybody would still want him there.
What do you think about, this is off topic, but I don't know if you have an answer for this, but McCarthy is a coach for the Barracuda. Another guy
I don't know.
who's
I mean,
kinda-
he was a player for a really long time, obviously, but he doesn't really have any other experience. I don't hate it, like, from an organizational standpoint, but I feel like where the Sharks are right now, development is crucial if this team is going to be successful in the next 5 to 10 years. And I don't really know that I want a first-time coach coaching all these guys, you know? I mean, I love John McCarthy. He's like a really heart and soul kind of guy. Stuck with the Sharks organization for a really long time. Might have gotten more opportunities in the NHL if he played somewhere else. You never know, but he chose to stay here, and that's really admirable. And I just don't know. Like, how good of a coach is he? Like, the Barracuda were really bad this year again. Even though there was they spent a lot of resources trying to make that team better, and they weren't. So something's got to give.
And as we said earlier, Agazino was like, "Get me off this team." So
That's also kind of concerning. He just said personal reasons. You know, maybe he's got family in the LA area. I don't know.
Yeah.
That could be it, because
It
he was
could be a simple
originally in the
fact.
Anaheim organization.
Yeah.
I want to shift gears a little bit. So we were talking about potential trade between Pittsburgh for Kakkonen because the goaltending question got brought up.
Right.
The big trade that a lot of people are, Perreault is off the board, they're saying. Kellen just said Perreault's off the board. I think that's the Rangers just picked Perreault. So there you go. There's one down. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, Gabe
fire away,
Perreault.
go ahead.
Yeah, Gabe Perreault is really good. I had him at 14. So it's that 11, 12, 13, 14 range of guys.
Okay.
Quite famously, he broke Austin Matthews' record for points in a season with the U.S. National Team Development Program this year. Of course, I'm pretty sure everybody on that line broke his record, but he had the most points on the team. He had like 132 points or something. Really high upside, really smart, great finishers, got a great shot, really good off-puck positioning, sets himself up to score really nicely. Also, you know, does work on the forecheck a little bit. Not a good skater. That's his main flaw. He's not big. He's like 5'10", 5'11", and his skating is an issue, which is why he's gone as late as he has. Also, his defensive play, most of the season was really not good. He looked kind of disinterested at times. I think at the U18s, he kind of upped his stock a little bit, made a couple of really good defensive plays, was working pretty hard in the defensive zone. So I think he was really trying to show to teams like his last chance to really get seen before the draft, and he put a lot of work in, and I think, you know, he's going to be a really good player in the NHL, or he's not going to play at all. The skating, he's a boomer bust kind of guy. He's not a guy who's going to work out in the bottom six, but he's also a guy who could maybe score 90 points in a season. So I like him quite a lot.
So,
Especially at that pick, for that late of a pick,
at 22, 23, wherever that was, that's a good pick.
I think that was
That was
21. I want to say it was 21.
That was 23.
That was
It was
23.
pick 23,
right
yeah.
now.
Oh.
Nashville's on the clock.
Cool. Okay. So the best pick the Sharks can make right now, in your opinion, would be Brindley, if he's still available.
Technically, it's Perron, but
Either one.
pick one. Yeah,
Okay.
6 and 1/2
Same
dozen the
tier.
other. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So
I have a feeling the team is going to like Brindley more than
the hard worker
Yeah.
aspect, right?
yeah. I mean, Perron is a hard worker too.
Sure.
I just feel like Brindley played at a higher stage, played at the NCAA level, was successful against older competition. I just think they're probably going to prefer him.
So like we were talking about earlier with the trade, talking about the goaltending. The trade that everyone's kind of got their eye on is the one that hasn't happened, and it's Erik Karlsson. Again, there's been some reports. We saw it was Sheng Peng was saying Canes, Leafs, Kraken, He just came off a Norris Trophy winning season, 101 points. His stock's pretty high. He played 82 games, which he hasn't done in a long time. Obviously, he's a little bit older, but hey, every year someone gets older. So, in Greer's, I don't know, he was addressing the media and everything else. Greer was saying,
Press conference.
yeah, press conference. He was saying, that's going to happen soon, but we're not going to retain 50%, right?
Right.
By soon, obviously, he didn't mean today, it seems, because you would think that happened by now.
Yeah,
don't you think?
I didn't think it was going to happen today unless it was involving something big with somebody. But
I was kind of expecting him to be drafted by now, or traded by now.
By now, yeah.
I was expecting him to get traded today. At this point, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, the highest pick you could get this year would be like 24.
yeah.
Well, Nashville's pick is in, so it would be 25.
Right.
So
I think it'll happen after the draft and possibly after July 1st, which is when you can sign free agents. I think people want to see teams want to see where the chips kind of fall and where the players end up and what holes they need to fill for their team and what they can do and move around.
Yeah.
See, I kind of think it'll be the other way around.
Yeah.
Whatever teams are interested in Carlson, I think they want to get it done as fast as possible so that there's still going to be some of those UFAs on the market that they could potentially get afterwards when they know like how much cap space they have.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. When you have a guy that is going to cost you over $10 million in cap space, you kind of, if you're going to add him, you got to add him before you can do anything else. Because you can always add the onesie-twosie guys that a couple $1 million, you can add them in. But if you stock up on all these other guys, then you have to have a $10 million in cap space to sign him, and then he may not even want to sign. You got to figure that out first, I think, and then you add the rest of them in. So again, for me, I would think that that's happening sooner than later. I mean, he said soon, but
Yeah. To me, it sounded like Carlson's gone. Like he's
Yeah,
gone.
he's gone.
Yeah.
He will not be playing
He's
on the Sharks
gone.
next season. Like not that it's a done deal. Obviously, it's not done. But
Yeah.
like I think going back to when he got traded from Ottawa,
Yeah.
it was bad timing because he was traded almost the week of training camp or something. Like it was so late.
really close to the beginning of the
pretty
season.
Yeah, that he didn't get off to a good start. He had to uproot his whole family from Ottawa to San Jose, which is a very far, long distance across the whole countries. I think he doesn't want to do that again. Like he obviously wants to do, but he wants to do it sooner so he can get settled and ready rather than probably living out of a suitcase for a while in training camp, which is awful. You're not comfortable. You're not. Look at what happened when he was finally in a good headspace, mentally to start training camp. He went back to Sweden for the first time since pre-COVID to go to his trainer and visit family and have do things on his own terms kind of thing. And he had one of the best seasons he's ever had. Actually, he's had the best season he's ever had.
yeah.
At
least points
32,
wise,
yeah. So, I understand why he would want to get that done sooner than later.
I just want to bring that up because I thought it was interesting that it hasn't happened. But you're talking about, he's definitely not going to play until, I think look, he's got a no trade clause or no movement clause, but he's also signed. It's not like they absolutely have to move him. And if other teams are saying, no, you have to retain 50%, Greer's not going to necessarily cave and say, that ain't, I'll do it.
I don't think that'll do it. I think $2 to $3 million held, I think would be enough. Because then he's an $8-9 million defenseman, which is much more palpable.
You're going to have to read it. Is it Molendyk?
Terrible pick.
Goes to Nashville.
I do not like Molendyk at all.
Sorry, Nashville. Bad pick, buddy.
I'm way lower on Molendyk than basically anybody else. I mean, my colleagues at Dobber are collectively low on him, but even compared to them, I am low on him. I had him at 67.
Wow.
So he's not even in my second round. He's in my third round. He is the best skating defenseman in the draft. Pretty good in transition because of that. But defensively, his rush defense is hit or miss. Sometimes he's really good. Sometimes he's really bad. So I think you can coach him into being a good rush defender. In zone defense, he's too reactive to me. He's not anticipating to play fast enough. He's reacting a lot. He does react quickly because he has really quick feet. So a lot of times he can make up for it, but at other times too, he's like letting the play happen, and he's not defending it, which isn't great. You know, inconsistent at best in his defensive zone. Offensively, I don't know. I didn't see much there. I know a lot of teams are high on him in terms of his offense. Like, he has a decent shot, I guess. His playmaking is very simple. Mostly perimeter-based, volume-based, rather than by creating like actual dangerous scoring chances. He has some interesting skills. He has really good hand-eye coordination, which isn't the most important thing in hockey, but it does come into effect at times. He had a really good goal this year on the rush, where he batted the puck out of the air right in front of the goalie. In fact, I believe that was in the playoffs. That clip was on Twitter. That's like his best moment of the year. I actually watched him a lot against Connor Bedard this year because they're both on WHL teams. He played for Saskatoon. And, you know, sometimes he did a really good job defending Bedard. Other times he didn't. So he's just really inconsistent. And there's no skills there that make me think, oh, yeah, this is a first-round guy. He's probably going to play in the NHL. I mean, he's going to play in the NHL just because the skating alone is that good. It's good enough to get him there, but he's the kind of player that there's a good chance he plays games and he's just bad. Like, he'll play games, but he'll be a sub-replacement level player that just gets ice time because those players exist.
Do you think this is a kind of an organizational Nashville picking him here, kind of reaching because they're doing it based on their depth chart of they need to fill in prospects of defensive, and this was the next highest one for them on their board?
I guess it was, obviously, because they picked him.
Right.
But I will say this, Nashville is a team that is known for developing defensemen, so maybe they can develop him into a really good shutdown guy. But I'm also pretty sure that they have a lot of defensemen because they kind of draft defensemen every year. So I don't know exactly what their prospect pipeline looks like. I suspect they didn't need to draft based off position here. They could have just taken best player available, especially at this point in the first round. So I guess he's the guy that they liked the most. That would be my best guess.
Is this the fantasy football GM that drafts all the quarterbacks and trades them away? Or running backs and then tries to trade them away later?
I don't think so, because what value does Molendyk have as a trade asset right now?
Well, I just meant not him, but specifically, but just
They always tend to trade them out.
They tend to stock up on defensemen.
Oh,
and they trade
gotcha. I mean, yeah, they've traded a few defensemen in the last couple years. I mean, Ekholm, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking.
Play to their strength of we develop defensemen, we'll just only take defensemen.
I mean, even amongst defensemen, though, there's better defensemen available. I probably have like 7 or 8 that are ranked higher than Molendyk. Like I said, Luka Cagnoni, Mikhail Gulyayev are 2 guys that have way higher ceilings than Molendyk.
So you said Perron is still there.
Perron, I believe, is still there, yeah.
Brindley's still there. Augustine, the goaltender.
Augustine is still there, yeah. I believe the Sharks
There's
are on
one more pick.
His
25th pick is happening
right now.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. So one of those potentially going to get taken, right?
Yeah.
So you still have of those 3 that, well, again, I'm bringing up the goaltenders because Greer had said we're probably likely going to draft a goalie. He didn't say in the first round, but if he's saying I want a goaltender and the best one in the draft is available as a late round pick, do they go for him? I don't know. But either way, if they're taking any of the guys that you like, because one of them is going to be gone, at worst, only one of them can be gone. So by the time it gets to the Sharks pick, they could potentially mess up here, but it sounds like they might have a couple good players still that, in your estimation, that would be either somebody who's supposed to be picked at 11th or 12th on your list, and then the top goalie in the draft.
Yeah,
still sitting pretty, in other words.
Yeah. There's a lot of upside left on the board. I mean, there's players left where they can basically do whatever they want. If they just want to go best player available, they'll take whoever they have on their board as the highest ranked player. For me, that would be Perron. But maybe for them, it's Quentin Musty or Colby Barlow, I think, is still available. I don't know, but
Kellen says another Swedish guy off the board.
Otto.
Huh?
Otto Stenberg?
Yeah.
Stenberg's
Otto Stenberg just
Oh,
went
okay,
to
okay.
St. Louis.
Stenberg's an interesting guy. Reminds me a little bit of Juraj Slafkovsky in that, not in like the way he plays or
Okay.
anything, but in his regular league games, not really that impressive. But in international tournaments, like every time, Hlinka Gretzky Cup at the beginning of the year, he was really good. He was a standout. U18s, he was a standout. So he's a guy that seems to elevate his game in big moments. Not a super tremendous high amount of upside, I think, there, but you know, he could be a second line center. I don't hate that pick. I don't hate that pick for St. Louis.
So
More importantly, he's not one of the guys I've been talking about this whole time.
Now, how disappointed are you going to be if the Sharks don't pick one of these guys?
We'll see who they pick. We'll just see who they pick.
okay, so yeah, we'd say how disappointed. But then here's the other question: is what is the probability that they trade the pick? Right? I mean, would you be upset if they took that pick and traded down? And you go, man, you've got these other players that I've got ranked at like 11, 12. Why wouldn't you have taken them?
If they really want Augustine or whoever they think is the best goalie in the draft, they're probably going to trade down.
Trade down. Okay.
Because you
For
can
like
probably,
a early
not a lot,
second?
Yeah.
but you can probably get
Late
that guy
first,
at like
early
30, 31,
Yeah.
32. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
maybe
be
one of those
surprised.
teams want to trade up to get someone that they really like, and they don't think
Yeah.
is going to fall to them in the
Yeah.
next 5 picks.
Yeah, if they're looking at, like you said, like Perron or Brindley, if they're looking at one of those two players and they're going, we're 3-4 picks back, there's no way that they don't get taken in the next couple picks.
Yeah.
We got to move, you know?
Yeah, Perron, by the way, is the younger brother of David Perron.
I was wondering about
Not, you know, it's not super relevant, but I do think it's a little bit relevant when players have NHL
Yeah.
bloodlines.
that. That's a much younger brother, because David Perron's older.
Yeah. He's not that old.
David
His
Perron?
30s, isn't
He's like, what, 28?
he? No, I think he's older than
I
that.
thought he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
Maybe he is.
Wow.
I thought he was like mid.
Maybe he's like his cousin or something. I know for sure they're related.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's his brother. He might be like a nephew or something.
All right, so the younger brother. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think, I mean, it works. Obviously, the Tkachuk brothers. That's a more extreme example, but like, I mean, they had a hockey dad too, right? So I think, but I think you're right. You know.
Uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a
but
lot.
there's a lot to be said for that because you know, there's times like we had Scott Hannan on here, right? His kids are at the rink all the time. He coaches his kids, and it's not like he's like I coach my kids. My kids aren't going to make the NHL, right? Like. His kids might have a
dare
go
you?
at
You
it.
don't know that.
Just saying. Dude, I'm 5'7". My wife is 5'4", so there's
Hey,
no way.
Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield is
Fair enough.
5'6".
Theo
okay?
Fleury's
Fair enough.
5'6".
Nathan Gerby. He was 5'4". He played in the NHL.
You just named 3 or 4 players. How many players have played in the NHL?
Listen, if you don't believe, it's not going to happen.
Well, I don't believe, but it's probably not happening. My point being is that you're getting not even just NHL player caliber coaching from like a dad who's played, but you're getting that experience too. They bring him to the rink, they bring him into the locker room, right?
They see what it takes. To
Absolutely,
Get there,
they see that. So, and of course, I'm not making my kid do chin-ups and leg presses and stuff. I'm sure that they are.
You could be the towel boy in there.
I
in the
could be.
locker room.
I could be.
And then, not
I
you,
so could finally
them.
see. Oh, me. I want to see the Sharks locker room already. Okay.
I
So if I have to be a towel boy,
I hope that streak keeps going. You never get to go in the locker room.
that's hateful.
But I do with a camera and show you pictures.
Hateful. Ride the bull. Yeah, he has to ride the bull. I'm not riding the bull. But anyway, so the Sharks are on the clock right now.
The pick is in.
Are they picking right now?
They're going right now.
They're about to. Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like they're walking up there again. We can't focus on that because reasons. But yeah, is there something you're holding that mic up like you want to say something?
I'm just going to make a prediction really quick. I'm going to guess that they take Mikhail Goliayev.
Ooh. Okay.
see.
Is there a reason though? Is that because you're
He's
high
a
on the other two?
defenseman.
Just because it's defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, they have not been shy of drafting Russian players in the past. So he's a defenseman. I mean, maybe they think they can get him tomorrow with their second-round pick. I don't know, but he seems like the type of guy. He fits a position. He fits an organizational need.
All right. Real quick, in the comments before they say it, what do you think of the guys that we were talking about? Oh,
Too late. There you go.
Musty.
I almost said they're gonna pick Musty. Yeah, I mean, look. Okay, at the end of the day, right? This is the 26th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
I have him at 16 on my board.
Okay.
Okay. It's
Good value.
It's a good value.
Yeah.
Does he have the upside of some of the other guys like Perron or Brindley? Maybe not, but he's
More
a
of
safe
pick.
He's a safe pick.
Yeah.
Mike Greer special, maybe. He's definitely gonna play. He'll be pretty good. He's probably gonna play in a top 6 role to some extent, at least for parts of his career. He's big, skates pretty well. He's got decent puck skills.
That's a Mike Greer special right there. Big, can move,
Yeah.
puck skills, and
I
big.
will say this: he did say that they are not necessarily too concerned about size at this point. After drafting a bunch of big guys last year,
Yeah.
that is yet to be seen.
Yeah.
I mean, Will Smith isn't the biggest guy, but he's so good that you're not really worried about size.
He's
with a
6
player
foot,
like that.
Will Smith, or shorter?
I don't remember who else was on the show that you said was 6 foot. I'm pretty sure he's 5'11", but
That means he's 5'10" in real life.
kind of splitting hairs a little bit. But yeah, he's not tremendously big, but he has decent size. But with a player of that skill level too, like Matvei Michkov is smaller, but you're not really concerned about size with him. That's not the concern yet. So
So an okay pick.
3-hour
We
mark.
just broke the 3-hour mark.
We just hit the 3-hour mark?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. You've been a part of history. Fin Factor, we're able to sit here and talk for 3
Roll
hours.
call. Tell us where you are and how long you've been on.
I gotta say, I'm a little surprised how quickly it's gone.
Yeah.
This
It
isn't
has
that
gone
bad,
pretty
yeah.
quick, yeah.
We
They've
filled
done
in
a
the
good
time
job.
well, I feel like.
It was
Broke it up
definitely
a
nice.
bit. Had some people on.
Smith is 5'11". Yeah, there you go. Well, he's listed at 5'11". at
So
least.
he's my height. He's 5'9".
Well, look, the draft combine has already happened, so whatever their listed height is, that should be their actual height.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to know how many chin-ups did he do? You know? I mean, Bedard did a whole bunch.
Did he really?
14 or something like that? I forget what
Wow.
it was. Yeah, he did a fair amount. 12, 14, so I forget how many.
I mean,
it was.
I could do that many when I was in 8th grade, so obviously I should be an NHL draft pick. But
I think I got about 14 when I was
I think
in high school.
I weighed a lot less.
Oh, yeah.
and I was
yeah,
able to
exactly.
move
When I was in
more.
8th grade, I weighed like 70 pounds, so you know, not
Yeah,
exactly that impressive.
So if you're one of these guys now maybe you've got your list.
Yeah.
And Central Scouting has theirs, right? And I don't know how different it is yours from theirs.
Honestly,
But if-
I haven't looked at Central Scouting, so I
There
don't
you
know.
go. So, but those guys that are maybe, let's say you're Central Scouting, those guys that are in that middle area there, that 11, 12, 13, that haven't gotten picked yet.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going through their heads right now? They've got to be like beyond frustrated with the way that this is going and thinking that, hey, you know what? I'm supposed to be going much earlier. Why are these other guys going ahead of me?
Well, for one, I will say that these 3 players in particular, I am significantly higher on than a lot of people.
Okay.
Brindley, the fact that he hasn't been drafted yet is legitimately surprising. I am surprised that Brindley is still available. These other guys, though, like Perron and Crystal, Perron especially probably wasn't expecting to get drafted today. Probably was expecting to get drafted relatively early tomorrow. So I imagine he's not too disappointed.
You think he was even there? Was he there? I didn't get to see.
Oh, he was definitely there.
Yeah?
There's like he had a chance of being drafted today for sure.
Oh,
I mean, he
okay.
still does. You know,
Yeah.
it's not over. But Crystal is a guy that I think was probably expecting to get drafted today, and he still might. But you know, that's one guy of those 3 guys. He's probably the one that was expected to be drafted today the most.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, still, a lot of people had him in like the mid-20s. So this is about the range he could go.
Yeah.
But you never know.
I mean, for some team, they're feeling like, hey, this is great. He fell to us. In the same way that the Sharks were looking
Yeah.
at Eklund. He fell to us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this could be, for one of the teams that's coming up here, quite a nice pickup.
Could also be tomorrow when the Sharks have their early 2nd round pick.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
I'd be kind of surprised if they. I think that last pick, like every pick that Mike Greer makes, tells us a little bit more about how he's going to draft players.
Yeah.
I think that last pick tells me those 3 guys I've been talking about this whole time, probably not, if they're available, probably not going to be Sharks picks with the first pick in the 2nd round. And I'm not sure if we have a third round or not. We have Carolina's. We had it. I don't know if we still do. We might have traded it. But either way, there's going to be a big gap between the second round pick and their next pick. So like anybody who is still available at the second pick is not going to be available with their next pick unless they trade up.
Do you think there's a good possibility of that? Do you think there's a possibility
the
of
trading
them
up?
moving, since there is that big gap and the talent is more front-loaded in this draft? Do you think there's a good possibility that they take that later pick and try to move up a little bit?
I could see them trading up in the second round.
Okay.
Just because there's going to be so much talent still available in the second round. It really is a good, deep class, in my opinion. If they see it the same way, I could see them trading up into like the mid-50s.
Yeah.
To get, if there's somebody that they really like that's still available. Otherwise, after you get 60, 70 range, probably not, but you never know.
Did he say Colorado?
Call him Richie.
Call him Richie? Is another guy now? Is he on your list?
Yeah, he's on my list.
Okay. But where's he? Where did you have him slated to go?
I had him at, well, this is not a mock draft.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, I had him at 20. He's definitely one of the safer, he's a safer pick. He's big, he's a center. Kind of a pain in the ass to play against. He can dish out the hits.
Yeah.
Not tremendously skilled, but he's a first round talent in a year that has a lot of them. So that's a fine pick. Not a guy I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
Like even if the Sharks drafted him, I wouldn't really be that excited about him. I'd rather have Musty over Richie for sure.
So it's obviously Mike Greer's at the helm here. It's not Doug Wilson anymore, but is Joe Will still part of things here? So
the scouting staff is
the Joe Will special. Do you think we see the trading the fifth to get a couple of sevenths? Like,
I kind of doubt it this year. Actually,
Really?
I think they're going to use the rest of the picks they have.
Okay.
Just because this class is really good. I know they have 3 7th rounders.
They already have.
Maybe they go the other way. Yeah. Maybe they do the reverse
Yeah,
special.
so I could actually maybe they package 2 of those 7s and move up into like the 6th or something.
Yeah.
Not like a major deal, but especially because they've traded their 6 now. Maybe there's somebody that's in the 6th round that they're really dying for.
Yeah.
But at that point, it won't really be too big of a deal. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. You know what I think we're going to do? We're going to take a brief intermission. We'll come right back. Hopefully the draft is... We're right towards the end here. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see anything Shark-related action here. A last-second trade to get, pick number 31 or 32 or something. So obviously we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll come right back to you. But for now, we'll go ahead and take a short break and don't go away.
See you in a bit.
All right, so we're back. You know what? We're pretty much closing out here. The draft is just about over. I don't think anything's going to happen regarding last-minute trades. I think the Sharks are basically done. I don't know if you can see in the background there, but when they did make that last selection, pretty much the place cleared out. It was like the Sharks were down by a goal, and then they were down by 2, and the place just, roaches. So I think we're kind of done here, which is totally fine. I had a great time. It was so much fun being able to talk with Dan Boyle, Scott Hannan, got Doug Bentz out here, and then of course Graham, our prospects expert. We love having him on the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all the information he was able to provide. So Graham, why don't you go ahead and plug yourself here, let people know where they can see you, read about you, whatever it is. Go ahead.
So the main thing would be my YouTube channel. It's just Graham Slam. Once this is posted as a video, I'll try to leave a comment. You can just click on my name and it'll take you right to my channel. That's where I post all my videos. They're all draft related. My most recent video is my top 100 rankings for this draft, plus a few honorable mentions. So you can go ahead and check that out for some guys the Sharks might draft tomorrow. You can also see me at DobberProspects. It's just DobberProspects.com. We do all kinds of draft coverage there. Again, we have our collective top 100 board there, where several players that I wrote about for that article. You can also follow me on Twitter at GrahamSlamYT. And that's about it for my social media. So.
Very good. Hey, I had a great time. You want to just go ahead, fire away? Did you have fun today?
I had a great time.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back in the arena. I think this event was really cool, and being on the floor, I think was really awesome for a lot of fans that probably have never even been out on the ice.
Yeah.
Or ice. It's not ice right now, but been out on that floor. So it's really cool. I'm glad they did this, and it was exciting to have Doug on here to kind of talk about the stuff that they're going to be doing. And it sounds like we're going to have him on again a little bit later in maybe another month or so we can go over the other half of the promotional items.
In a month?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I thought we were going to have to wait until December.
No, they're releasing it in mid-July.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So
we'll find out what the other half of the schedule will be. I'm sure they're figuring out logistics of actual ordering and getting
Yeah.
like the mask, for instance, is not even the artwork's not even done yet. So that might be announced by then because they were working on it now.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot more of that cool stuff leading up into the season.
You know, and I have to say that I like the ingenuity there, like the creativity. They're doing
Absolutely.
stuff like an apron, who does that? What kind? Who
They're
gets
doing
a
a
giveaway?
hockey mask.
Exactly. Well, I mean that makes sense, but it's a Jason mask. It's a luchador.
Yeah, but when
thing.
have you get into a game that's done that?
No, exactly.
Like
That's
the
my
Barracuda's
point. Yeah.
never even done
So
that.
I really like that. Oh, Kellen says, thanks for everything, guys. Appreciate the coverage. Hey, Kellen, we were just happy to be here, frankly. And this whole experience. In fact, after we're done here, we'll go ahead and go down there because we haven't even gone down there yet, and we'll experience some of the stuff that's in there.
There's food trucks here. There's what is it? The Mechanical Shark.
Yeah. Well,
There's the Patrick Marleau over in between us. The Patrick Marleau banner that's going to go in the rafters. You can go take a picture with it.
Yeah.
So we'll go get that done right now.
we'll get that done as well. And Super Producer Jason said he's going to ride the Mechanical Shark.
We'll get video.
I'll be recording, so there you go. Yeah, absolutely. If you guys would like to support the show, you can do that several ways. One of them, of course, Super Chat. We're kind of done here now, but if you wanted to, certainly fire away. Also on Venmo, you can do @TheFinFactor. Go ahead and hit us up with a tip there. Greatly appreciate it. And then, of course, Super Producer Jason just put on the screen saying thefinfactor.com. If you'd like to purchase anything there, the products that we have, hats, shirts, sweatshirts. You saw Debbie. Debbie was here with her Fin Factor sweatshirt on. Looked pretty good. So if you'd like to support the show that way, get something back in return. That's the best way to do that. Of course, if you can like, subscribe, all those wonderful things, but also share, guys. Sharing is caring. Let us get in front of some of your other Sharks friends and family, and of course, plug Graham here as well. Guy knows what he's talking about, and he's going to be probably repeating on this show quite a bit as the years go by. So, my God, the years go by. Aaron, how long have we been doing this now?
6 years.
Is this our 6th season?
I believe
We're
so.
starting off
Yeah,
here?
it's our 6th
I think it's
season.
our, Super Producer Jason is nodding. It's our 6th season. It's ridiculous. We want to thank you guys for being there for as long as you have been, whether it's since season 1 or since the beginning of this stream here. Super Producer Jason's having way too much fun with this stuff. More of this to come, I'm sure. All the fancy stuff that Jason loves to do with the hearts. Love you guys. So for super producer Jason and for Graham, I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you guys
At some point in the summer.
at some point in the summer. Very specifically, of course.
Noah Gregor, 10-goal scorer.
Elite
Bye-bye.
10-goal scorer.
Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support our show.